We're discussing NFL win totals once again. We did part one about 3 weeks ago. We're now doing part two. There was scheduling conflicts and whatnot. We had fantasy football drafts, but we're going to finish up the NFL win totals. We're going to talk about all the NFC teams, and we're going to get into some Super Bowl exactas that our co-host has bet tonight. So can't wait to hear what he's come up with. But before we begin, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. As always, something for the merch store. It is our 100% USDA man t-shirt, which my daughter loves. She goes, hot dogs, hot dogs. She loves her hot dogs. So you can get that as well as everything else at the merch store. We have a 20% off sale on t-shirts, 10% sale on everything else, including our famous apron. And you can go to Amazon, buy my most recent book, which is Year of the Bad Beat. It is out. It's took me about 6-7 months to write. And I detailed all the bad beats that happened in the 2025 season, or calendar year, I should say, and I was on the wrong side of all of them. And I talked about how excruciating it was, all the heartbreak, and it was therapeutic.
Excuse me, Walt. Those are more than just the NFL.
Yes, some basketball. There's one golf chapter, but it's mostly NFL. It's like I would say 75 to 80% of the book is the NFL. So actually probably more than that. So yeah, but there are a few other things in there as well. So it was a lot of fun to write. I think you guys will have fun reading it. It's not too long. It says 165 pages.
I think fun should be in quotes when you think about the subject matter.
You get to relive my misery, which could be fun for some people.
And what side you fell on in those bad beats?
Yeah.
Fun would be in quotes.
If you're a fan of Schadenfreude, then like yes, you I think you would like this book. But I you can let me know what you think. I know Andy said you ordered your copy. I ordered mine. And it says Sunday is like the first day people can get it, I think. So it was a really cool process. It's kind of
they said it was published, I think, August 22nd or 23rd.
Yeah, it takes about a week for it to like you can buy the Kindle version right now, but it takes about a week to for it to go to print. So I published it, I finalized it on Sunday, which was the 22nd, I think, or was that 23rd. Saturday? No, Saturday was the 22nd. Yeah, Saturday's the 22nd. So I like hit published that day, and then as soon as
that's what it says right there.
Right, and as soon as it was up, it said, you can buy the Kindle now, but the print won't be available until next weekend. So it just takes a little bit. So that's how it was with the other books.
My question is, did they offer you now? What's the price for the hard copy?
$14.52.
Okay. Now, did they say if you pay only 11? What would you say? 14.
14.52. 14.52.
Okay. So if they paid $11.52, you get an autographed copy.
They're
trying to screw you a little bit there.
I've actually had people request autograph copies, and I've sent it to them. Yeah, Slew was one of our top commenters on here, and he asked for an autograph copy. We had some others as well, and I just autographed and sent it to them for free. Well, they had to pay for the book, but still, like I've done that. So if you guys have any requests for that, I would definitely fulfill that.
I have not read the book, but I know a lot of what's in it because of our discussions. And I think that most of our viewers and listeners will. It's hard to say when you talk about bad beats because a lot of us can relate to them, and probably a number of our, viewers and listeners were probably on the same side. It's a very entertaining, easy to read book.
I hope you guys like it. We've discussed some of them. Some of the bad beats I forgot. Like I went through all the games and I'm like, oh my god, I forgot about that one. It was so bad. But anyway, I think you guys will like it. Pat says, can you go through the FanDuel head-to-head wins in this episode? I feel like FanDuel doesn't have much. We can look, but for me, FanDuel doesn't even have win totals anymore. I don't know what's going on with them.
They don't win totals.
Yeah, they don't. FanDuel doesn't even have season win totals for me.
They took them down.
Yeah, they haven't had them up for 3 weeks. I can show you. I don't understand.
That's very unusual. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like, okay, I can understand like taking them down for like 1 day or something if you want to make adjustments, but like this here, as you can see on the screen, I have FanDuel up. Let me hide the comments so you can see everything. So it has games, obviously not other games. It's just the games.
By the way, do they have all 18 weeks up? I think DraftKings might.
They
They
have
have a
some. They have some late games. They don't have a lot. DraftKings has more. I know DraftKings has
yeah.
more.
I
So
think DraftKings has all 18 week sides and totals. You know what
yeah,
the Westgate used to do.
yeah. So this tab is preseason. Here we have Super Bowl, which is Super Bowl winner. It's fine.
Right.
Playoffs is to make or to miss the
Wow.
playoffs. And then we have awards, which is Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Rookie, MVP, and that's about it.
There's nothing to the
And
right. There's
with
nothing to the right of week one. Is that week one on the far
yeah,
right?
look, I can move this a little bit. Yeah, there's
That's it.
nothing here. There's awards. There's
Wow.
player props, which is season passing, rushing. You could bet over
Right.
under on those. And that's it for here. And then week one, that's it. They don't have like I have nothing on FanDuel. I don't know what's going on. Um, and this is not just one day. This has been the whole month of August. I don't understand. The DraftKings has so many things. BetMGM, so many things.
Now, the only
Like,
thought I will have there, and I don't say I agree with it, but I can understand it, is that maybe they took it off because of the start of the preseason games and the fact that they wouldn't be able to make adjustments if all of a sudden word gets out that there's a player injury that would affect the season win total, as happens, and that maybe they put him back up after this week when the only thing that's going to occur between Saturday and the start of the season will be
uh,
training camp or preparation for games.
there we
That's
go.
the only
There we
thought
go.
I can think of.
So okay, this is so dumb. This is so dumb. If I click NFL, they have these. They barely have anything. But if you go down to football, they have NFL futures. Okay, this is ridiculous. Okay, now they have them. Okay,
Oh, they do have
um,
this. They have. Oh,
yeah, they
they
hid
must
them.
make the play. Oh, where are the season wins?
They hid them under NFL futures, but not under NFL tab. You have to go down to football. Like I've been clicking NFL. It's had
No,
nothing.
I'm just trying to read one where they have the number of wins.
Yeah, right here. The regular season wins. So yeah, there we
Oh,
go.
okay.
Yeah, you
What
had
was
to
that?
go
What
to
was that?
football. They had to go to football, not NFL. You had to go to
No, I'm saying
football.
like okay, like
Yeah,
let's click under Rams. What does it show? Does it show one, two, or three options?
yeah. 9.5, 10.5, 11.5.
Okay, so they are there.
Yeah, right. You had to click football
Yeah,
and not NFL. Okay, and football's buried down. It's not at the top. It's way down here under darts.
alphabetical, I guess.
Yeah, it's under
Because I
cycling,
get
cricket, and boxing.
because I guess they don't take any betting on equestrian,
Right.
which would fall between darts and football.
Yes. It's
And,
cycling,
and
cricket.
by the way, it's a good thing under football they didn't have NFL college flag.
Right. I don't understand. Yeah, that now they have like Steelers have more wins than so and so. That's interesting. Why do they bury this? I don't. I like for a month. I'm like, where are the futures? Where'd they go?
Yeah,
I don't know. So dumb.
that's
Anyway, like, why would you bury that?
got
I
to
don't
be
know.
a very always has been, always will be. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
There's so
anyway.
much of an edge that the books have that they would want to put that in bold capital letters.
Yeah. I you would think that would be under NFL, but it's not. You have to
Yeah.
go down to football, which is below cycling and darts and cricket.
By the way,
Um,
as long as you're there, does it have college football season wins?
um, let's see. I don't know. And yeah, NCAA futures. Let's see. I'm not seeing it. No, they have ACC champion winner, all the conference winners. They have the national champion. They don't have anything
Hmm.
on wins for college football.
Hmm.
So maybe that's a PA thing. I don't know. They tend to restrict college, what you can do in college in Pennsylvania. But maybe that's available in another state. But anyway, I don't know why they would bury it. But yeah, now we have that. So
Okay.
anyway, we were going to get to the NFC win totals today, but you told me before we started recording that you bet your NFL exactas, which
Not all of
yeah,
them, just
okay,
the first ones that I decided on that I liked.
okay,
I'll
you
probably
kind
do
of
more once the third week of preseason is over, and there's a lot more stability as far as line movements go.
okay, and you brought that to prominence here when we were heading into the Eagles Chiefs Super Bowl. And I said,
Yeah.
Andy, who do you have? And you're like, I have both. I have 65-1 on the Chiefs and 70-1 on the Eagles. I'm like, well,
Well,
tell me more.
I think it was like 58 and 53, something like that.
Okay, something like that. I'm like, Andy, tell me more. How'd you do this? And so you told me about these exactas, and I've been betting a lot of these exactas with a lot of free bonus bets that you
Hmm.
get from like deposits and whatnot, or
Yeah, the
various
bonuses. Yeah.
promos, various promos. So
I
yeah,
did it the
we
old-fashioned way with
right.
cash.
Yeah, you paid for it. I'm the cheapskate who did it for free.
No, you're taking you are wisely taking advantage of something where you're not quote unquote risking anything that you don't have. In other words,
Yeah.
these are bonuses which you can use to wager, but it's not as though you're tying up uh, actual cash that you have, because those bonuses can only be wagered. They can't be cashed out. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's
And
just a question of how you use them. Yeah.
yeah, and for last year, I was able to hedge with Seahawks Patriots both ways
Yeah.
because I had a lot of the configurations with the Rams and the Bills. But I was like entering the playoffs. I'm like, I don't have anything on Seahawks Patriots, so that's one of the few that I hedged with, and it ended up winning. So
Now, by the
that's
way, what
yeah,
prices did you get on the two exactas, Seattle, New England, at the start of the playoffs?
25, 2,500 and 3,000 plus 3,000,
Also
25 to 1,
30,
30 to
30 to
1.
1 and
Yeah.
25 to 1. Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
which is good.
Yeah.
Which, even at that point in time, those are relatively long shot prices, even though New England was what? The number two seed in the AFC, and Seattle was what? The number one seed
Yep.
in the
Yep.
NFC? 14
Yeah.
and
I mean,
3.
the Patriots tie for the best
So
record.
25 and
Yeah.
30 to 1.
Yeah,
Yeah,
both
with
14
Denver.
wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, both 14 win teams.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
yeah, I mean,
25 to 1 and 30 to 1 was still, uh, I don't know what the shortest odds were, but I have to believe something like Bills and Rams or something was
yeah,
a little
probably.
shorter.
And I think I was sitting on like 60-1 on those. So, I was
Yeah.
obviously hoping for those to win, but it
Well,
did
well,
work
well,
out.
again and again, I'm talking about at the start of the playoffs,
Mm,
Bills, Rams, Rams, Bills may have been the betting favorites at
yeah.
that point, but your 60 to 1 was because you had made those wagers either in the preseason or very early in the regular season.
Yeah, yeah, during the summer, sure.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, you can hedge it that way. I like doing this a lot, and yeah, I was going to ask you. I mean, what exactas did you bet? So let's hear what you
Okay.
have.
And this is in no particular order other than the way the tickets were punched. I have a third rematch in the Super Bowl, 49ers Bengals. 49ers defeat Bengals at 145 to 1.
I have that as well. I have that both ways.
49ers, this one I really like. And it's only, when I say only, also 145 to 1. 49ers defeat Texans.
Okay,
I can see that one.
I don't think I have that one, but that's interesting.
I
Okay,
like the D'Amico Ryan aspect there for the Texans and the connection with San Francisco.
okay,
49ers over Chargers at
I have
125 to 1.
I have that one too.
The other NFC team I have is the right now the Cowboys, because obviously I've got them for Super Bowl.
Yes,
Cowboys over Bengals at 215 to 1.
nice.
Cowboys over Texans at 215 to 1. Cowboys over Chargers at 190 to 1.
Okay,
And then I've got Bengals over Cowboys at 255. Bengals over 49ers at 175. Well, I guess I have more than these. Texans over Cowboys at 245. Oh, no, yeah. Texans over 49ers at 165. Chargers over Cowboys at 195. And Chargers over 49ers at 125.
so no Rams, no Rams.
Not yet. No. They're going to be. I would imagine a lot of the Rams are priced either at the very low triple digits, like 100 or 110, or in the in the 50 to 60 range against legitimate contenders. No Rams, no Chiefs, no Bills yet. No Lions,
Okay,
no Bears.
so there might be in the near future then.
Yeah, there might be. I mean, I like this that I've got 2 in one conference and 3 in the other. I couldn't find a third team in the NFC other than the Cowboys and the 49ers. Although the Rams I would certainly consider, but that would be like playing Kansas City the last few years. But I
Hmm.
mean, again, if it comes in, you're still going to get I'll see if I can find some of the numbers here, some of the sheets. But let me see where. maybe I'll run into the other rumor for it. But yeah, but those are some of the ones that I was considering. In the NFC, okay, I eliminated Philadelphia for the moment. I think they're an aging team.
Yes.
Okay, and again, I've talked about this on other podcasts aside from just with you, and that is, you take a look, and I in fact, I did a couple of things, yesterday, and two things yesterday, and I think I did one earlier today. Um, that there may have been a blessing in disguise, if you want to call it that the Chiefs did not make the playoffs last year, because prior to that, they'd made the playoffs like 7 or 8 years in a row, and they played 2 or 3 games per season in those playoffs. So they probably played the equivalent of an extra season and a quarter by adding all those number of playoff games together. So now, and it's an aging team, and so maybe not playing those 2 to 4 extra games last year will be of a benefit this year, because they will have had effectively an extra month to 5 weeks of extra rest that they didn't have in the years when they were making all those Super Bowls. So that might be something, but I do like him, but I haven't decided how much I like him yet. I'm still wavering a little bit on the Broncos. I'm not sure, because I do like their defense. I'm not still sold on the offense. And by the way, it's only a few more weeks, and you go week 1 and 2 betting against Denver, right, with Sean Payton.
Absolutely. I've broken down how well each coach has done in week 1 and week 2.
Okay.
So I can share that with you, and it doesn't have we could do that in a later episode, but
yeah.
It's
or we can do it. Yeah, we can do it when we do it in week 1 when we talk about.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Which
so
will be 2 weeks.
Right. I found some interesting data, which I'm excited to share with you. Okay,
I was
so
going to say the other teams I was looking at. When I go division by division, it's so hard for a team, unless they're a really super team, to make Super Bowls back to back. So I ruled out New England, and I ruled out Seattle. And of those two, I would say New England would be the more likely team to make the Super Bowl, simply because they do have the easier schedule. They're in the easier division with just one true competitor in Buffalo, as opposed to Seattle with the Rams and the 49ers. But also Seattle, they're going to have an entirely new backfield starting the season. How's that going to work out early in the year with Darnold at quarterback and not having the kind of talent that ASL has, the receiver? But that's a big adjustment that they could have as far as that goes. Rams are obviously another team I'm considering. I probably won't use Philadelphia unless I change my mind over the next few weeks. In the NFC North, well, we both don't like the Packers, and I can make a case for. I could probably make a better case for Chicago than I can for Detroit, simply because of Ben Johnson, what he means to Chicago and what his loss means to Detroit. The defense is an issue for both of these teams that I'm a little concerned about. But if I go by defense, it's hard to overlook Minnesota with that defense. Jefferson now has a quarterback that supposedly will be able to get him the ball better than McCarthy will or would. But I like that defense. In the South, we both like the Saints, but I don't know that they're a Super Bowl contender. I would almost say Tampa Bay has a better chance than New Orleans of making the Super Bowl, although I could certainly see both Tampa Bay and New Orleans making the playoffs, although it's unlikely that 2 teams from that division would. So that's it. In the AFC, I can't, like I say, I'm not that thrilled with Buffalo because of the defense. In the North, I do like Cincinnati, as I mentioned. Baltimore, I'm still sort of undecided. I'm starting to like a lot more about Baltimore as we've progressed through the summer, but I'm not sure that I consider them a Super Bowl team. In the South, obviously, I like the Texans, and I haven't ruled out Jacksonville yet, but I feel that right now, even with the offensive issues that they've had really for the 3 years, even notwithstanding that rookie season by Stroud, I still think Texans are the better team, but I think Jacksonville's a legitimate team. I think they're a playoff team. And in the West, you got Denver, Chiefs, and the Chargers. Of those 3, I like the Chargers. I haven't decided who I like better between the Chiefs and the Broncos. I like the Chiefs largely because of there's talent there, and I know you have the issues with the defensive backfield and all that, but I have such respect for the historical performance of Mahomes and the kind of athlete he is and how he rubs off on his teammates. Spagnuolo on defense. and Andy Reid as well. So I think that the intangibles for the Chiefs, after missing the playoffs and having such a poor season last year, especially, we talked about it in 2025 and 2024 that they were winning all the close games and those close games that they lost. And I don't know how much that I'd have to say embarrassing loss to the Eagles in the Super Bowl was. What was that,
Yes.
42-0 or something like that, whatever the score was before they put points
Yes.
on the board, or
Yeah,
34-0 maybe it was. But, how much that took out of them and how much it allowed other teams to take advantage of Philadelphia made the Kansas City defense look like Swiss cheese.
yeah, and
nobody had done that before.
And they've gotten worse with all the players they lost. Now, there was some comments. I want to get to them in a second before we get to the win totals. But I wanted to ask you something pertaining to the win totals, because there's something that popped in my head when I was getting these these bonus bets.
By the way, did you say you had some questions about exactas? Or
that's what I'm going to get to right now. Yeah.
Oh,
that's what I'm going to get to right now.
You said win totals. Okay.
I meant
there's a connection between them.
Oh no! Well, I was going to ask you something. What your opinion on this for exactas? Because it's something that popped in my head when I'm betting these with these deposit bonuses that I've gotten.
Right.
So I put on the screen right here Rams to beat Jaguars 100-1. This is something I put in with one of my bonus bets. I do like the Jaguars a lot this year, and obviously the Rams, I think, the best team in the NFL.
Yeah.
I saw 100-1, and You bet both ways, right? If you bet Bengals over Cowboys, you also bet Cowboys over Bengals, right? That's what you did. You bet them both ways. For something like this,
now
do you think
the thing that you could do, and maybe this is where you're headed, is I was going to say that maybe where you're headed is Jacksonville and the Rams. If you're allowed to, I think some of the offshore places just conference championship parlay, Jaguars parlay to the Rams.
Okay, well, what I was going to ask
One
was,
bet instead of two.
What I was going to ask your opinion was, instead of going Rams Jaguars both ways, if you would only consider going one way, Rams over Jaguars, and let's just say that is the Super Bowl matchup. Okay, you don't have Jaguars over Rams, but in that sort of matchup, like the Rams are almost certainly going to be favored over the Jaguars.
Right.
And so you can, instead of betting it both ways, you can have the Rams over the Jaguars 100-1, but then you can hedge or middle actually by either you can hedge with the Jaguars money line, or you could bet like Jaguars plus.
Wait, did you say you have Jaguars over Rams?
No, I have Rams over Jaguars.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I thought you said it the other way. Okay, Rams over Jaguars.
Yeah, so you can either take the money line then, or what you could do is you could bet the plus 4.5 or whatever it's going to be and try to middle it.
Rams win, Jags cover.
Yes, so you could win both. Have you considered that with like some of these longer setups?
Well, the only thing there is, number one, the bets that you make on these exactors are not that huge, even though the return may be huge. Let's say you bet $25, $50, or $100 on your Rams over Jacksonville. Okay, and now you've got the Super Bowl. How much of the profit that you would make if the Rams win are you willing to give up, because you're going to have to bet more, even as an underdog, on the Jags to win the game money line,
right? As
opposed to what you could get by playing them now and not having to worry about a hedge if that turns out to be. And that's been my thought all along. If I like the Bengals to win the AFC and the 49ers, let's say, to win the NFC, why not play it either way, so that if I'm right in winning the conference, I don't care. I really don't care who wins the Super Bowl, because it's going to be a nice payoff either way. Would I prefer one over the other? Yeah, but I think I think I mentioned that a couple of these that are back and forth are 210-1 and 210-1 or whatever it is. So it requires less of an investment if I want to hedge. Let's say you bet $100 on the Rams over Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's $100 to win what, 10,000?
Yes.
Okay, so now you've got $100 invested to win 10,000. How much would you have? And let's say you wanted to say, you know what? I'm not going to have an opinion on this game. I'm going to bet enough on Jacksonville so that either way I profit by 5,000 in the middle. Doesn't matter which way. How much on the money line would you have to wager on Jacksonville to get to that $5,000 to offset, what you'd be giving up because you didn't play the exacta?
Sure.
Which would have been, say, $100 on Jacksonville over Rams. Probably be higher than that, of course. But
I just think that it's probably more as of a middle, where you have like one clear favorite, where you can win both bets. I was wondering about that.
No, because the outlay is much greater
Yeah, I
if you're
understand
going to
that.
do the
Yeah,
hedge, as
right.
opposed to uh, it's in other words, let's say I bet $100 on the Bengals over the 49ers. I don't know which team would be favored. You can make a case either way. Bengals got maybe the better overall roster, defenses improved, but maybe the 49ers a better balanced roster
Hmm.
overall. So and again, Rams and Jacksonville's is not all that unreasonable. What was the line on Seattle, New England?
It's 4.5, I think. I
That's
think
no, for last year in the Super Bowl.
in the Super Bowl, wasn't it 4.5? Let me see.
Maybe it was
Um,
4.5. Yeah.
yeah, I
And
have
what
it
was
right
what was
here.
the money line on that?
I don't know what the money. Yeah, it's 4.5. I don't know what the money line was, but I'm asking for this where like one side, or you have a good idea that one side will be a clear favorite. Oh, obviously, Stafford could get hurt in the NFC Championship,
Well,
like
no,
we
no,
saw
no.
with Joe
I'm saying
Nix, for
ignoring
example.
ignoring ignoring all that. Let's say everybody stays healthy or both teams
Yeah,
quarterback, whatever it is. That what would the money line be that you would have to put up to hedge on the Jaguars, as opposed to putting up right now $100 on the Jaguars over the Rams, and you forget about it.
yes.
That's
Yeah,
that.
I was just thinking because like you might be thinking, oh, I have too many exactas here. I have like Rams with another team, AFC team, like 6 times, but I
Yeah.
didn't bet the other side. I didn't bet the other side. So like, okay, I can middle this, because the Rams would
Well, again,
probably be
it
favorite.
depends. Even if you're a small bettor, okay.
Yeah.
Let's say you bet $20 on 125 to one shot, so you're going to
Hmm.
win 2,500. So even if you may, and you have a lot of let's say you bet $500, so you bet 25 combinations at $20. So you got $500 invested, any one of which is going to pay, let's say, in the $2,000 to $4,000 range.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're going to get a nice profit. You've only risked 500, and yet you're going to collect 3 to 5 times that profit, that amount, even more. And your outlay for that wager is all set. I
Yeah.
forget what the number would be. Okay, let's say okay. Here's the example. You remember those numbers that I read? They're all 100 to 1 or greater. Some
Yeah.
of them I
Yeah.
think larger.
Right.
If I had bet $25 on each of those 12, that's a $300 investment, and
Sure.
the minimum I would win would be what, 3 to 4 thousand,
Yeah.
and I don't have to worry about it as long as I get the two right teams. At that point, I don't care. Really, I mean, I'm not going to say I don't care, but let's say I don't care. I'm going to collect something,
Hmm.
but I don't have to increase my investment because I'm already guaranteed a winner.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
That's all.
Okay. I was just wondering. Okay.
But
Let's.
no, but, and by
Yeah.
the way, that's just one thought. Other people may think totally different way and may totally agree with you.
Mhm.
You know,
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
just a question. And again, because now I don't know. Well, you do basically everything online anyway. But would you be in a position if you did, let's say, Rams over Jaguars now, and you didn't do Jaguars over Rams, and that becomes the matchup? Would you have enough in the way of bonuses to cover yourself to hedge on the Jaguars, or would that be actual money in your account that you would have to put out there?
Oh, it would be money in my account,
Yeah,
but it would
yeah.
be. I wouldn't do the Jaguars money line. I would do what I said, like plus 4.5, and try to middle it and win both. That's what I would try to do.
Oh,
And I wouldn't like go like
yeah, yeah. But
10,000. Like
no, no. But what I'm saying is, you stand to win what, 10,000 if the Rams win.
yeah, if,
Yeah.
hypothetically, yeah, yeah.
But if Jacksonville wins the game, how much? I mean, now again, you have zero cash outlay
Hmm.
because you're using bonuses. Okay.
Yes,
I mean, look, you can use your bonuses. I'm sure whatever you do with them, they don't all win. So this is just so
right.
it's basically a free ride that you've decided. You've got a free ticket. It's just what you do with the ticket, and you put it on Rams over Jaguars. On the other end, if you did the same thing with another free bet to come the other way, whatever the amount is, you're all set. As opposed to, I mean, obviously, if you stand to win um, 10,000, if the Rams win 27-26,
Hmm.
okay, and obviously, if you got the plus 4.5, you'd win a lot. But how much would you win if you didn't play the money line? How much would you bet to offset a potential $10,000 win? how much would you bet on the plus 4.5? And let's say Jacksonville wins the game outright, and so the Rams over Jags doesn't cash, but the plus 4.5 cashes versus money line on the Jags.
I mean,
You'd have to wager a lot more on the plus 4.5 than you would on the straight. Yeah, in other words, at that point, do you want to be greedy or do you want to guarantee yourself a win?
Yeah. In my head, it would be like a quarter of it, and try to do it that way. But yeah, I mean, something else you could do a smaller wager on the other hand, and try to do both. You could do like,
well, you could, yeah. Let's say you bet 1,000. I'll just throw it because it's a round number. Let's say you bet 300 money line, 700 points.
What I was getting at is like if your original bet was $100 for Rams over Jaguars to win 10,000, maybe you go the other way, maybe do like $10 or $20 on Jaguars over Rams, so you're not investing as much in the future.
Oh yeah, in other words, let's say you're betting 100 on the Rams over Jags, you might bet 50 or 20 or 25
something like that.
Going the other way because the Rams theoretically right now. And again, I forget what the numbers you had there the other way, but theoretically, of the two tickets, the Rams is likely to cash over the Jags than the other way around. But you are protected. The question is, you're laying out less to protect yourself before the season starts, as opposed to protect yourself once the playoff field is announced.
Yeah.
Again, you're not using real cash right now.
Yeah, right. You could do both. You could bet less on the Jaguars over Rams.
I assume you have a lot of bonuses. Yeah.
Yeah, you could bet less on Jaguars over Rams, and then you could middle also to kind of even it out in the playoffs if you wanted to try to win both. So okay, I think that's what I would do.
The thing is, if you do that, if you do that, then you're guaranteed to collect something.
Right.
You're going to collect a lot if the Rams beat the Jags, and you collect a modest amount if the Jags beat the Rams. You're going to collect something if that's the matchup. And then at that point, you can maneuver yourself just like you might do in game, but you can do it before the game if that's, the way you want to do it, by taking Jacksonville either a little bit more money line if you think they have more of a chance than you thought at the start of the season, or just take the pants and hope for points and hope for a competitive Super Bowl where the Rams win 24-21.
Yep. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to fall on. So let's do the comments before we talk.
Which, by the way, if you did it that way and you took the Jags plus the 4.5, then by having played the Jags over the Rams, that's a bonus collection that you didn't have to worry about before the season started.
Right, exactly.
In other words, what it really puts into play, maybe you want to add a little bit more at a much lower money line at the Super Bowl than you could get now. But you could then also do the points, and then you could, then you can get a middle in addition to guaranteeing yourself a winner before the kickoff.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we had a couple questions here. Patrick says Bengals more wins than Packers is -120, as you can see on the screen here on FanDuel. Can you discuss? I think there's definite value there.
Absolutely, for one very reason right now.
Yeah.
Bengals have the easier division.
Yes, the two North teams, they play the South. So, the Packers do as well, but the Bengals, they have the two softer opponents.
Packers have to play the Bears, Lions, and the Vikings.
Yeah, they had the Bengals had the two softer opponents in their division.
Yeah, Baltimore's an opponent, and then you got the Steelers and the Browns, who are not. By the way, there's an interesting thing. I don't think we talked about it that first game in Atlanta at Pittsburgh. Wonder how much of an advantage Stefanski has knowing the Steelers from having played them twice the last few years.
Well, I mean, it would be nice if you had a quarterback whose brain wasn't rotted from all the concussions, Yeah.
In fact, I understand Tua's getting the start in this final preseason game.
I saw that. I don't know if Penix is healthy, though. I wonder if he would play if he were healthy. I really don't know.
It sounds like he's not, and they know what he can do.
Yeah, I think we're gonna make money betting against Tua this year. With this game, with this prop. So I think it wins. Yes, I like it, but the one issue I have with it is that you have to lock up your money for 5 months.
Yeah,
and you're getting,
which by the way is different than locking up your bonus for 5 months.
Right. if this were like plus 200, where you can double your money, or like plus
Yeah.
230, well, more than double your money, but like plus 230, 250, then yeah, you could say, okay, I can lock away for 5 months because I'm getting a good rate here. But for 5 months, just for minus 120, it's like the other one that Patrick mentioned. Texans more wins than Packers at plus 100. I think that hits also. But again, like that's what we when we talk about these
Yeah.
win totals, where I want to go the alt win totals, because
Yeah.
you're getting a
Okay,
much
keep
bigger
in mind,
payout.
one other thing though is it's just like making a regular bet and collecting. You just collect it at the end of the season. And what in with investing in what bank can you double your money in 5 months?
That's true, but you're not guaranteed. You have like a 55 or 45% chance of losing all your money. Like that's not a great
Well,
bank.
yeah, but
It's
that's
not.
just that's well, no, but I'm saying that that's just one bet as opposed to I mean, yeah, the obvious negative to that. Let's say you're talking about $120 wager to win 100. You
Yeah.
know, how much of the course regular betting week after week after week could you turn that 120 to as opposed to turning it into 220 when you collect the 5 months? That's
And you're
the
breaking up.
uh,
You're breaking up pretty badly there. But
I'll say consideration.
Andy, you're breaking up pretty badly there. Yeah, I get what you're saying. That, like, yeah, you can take this $120 and make more money throughout the season. You've said that before. You kind of flashed. Are you back, or I don't know if Andy's back. I don't know if this is my internet either. If you guys can hear me, let me know. How about those Angels? Yeah, how about those Angels? Yeah, I'm glad we took that hedge or middle on the Indians. Jeez, they blew that 3-0 lead pretty badly. But you're Andy, you're back. Are you back? Can you hear me?
Yes. How am I coming
Okay.
through?
Okay. Yeah, you're coming through
I
good now.
am.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that below?
Um,
Below? What's that at the bottom? What's that picture at the bottom
it's someone Cinder's
with the YouTube thing?
it's Cinder's avatar of
Oh, okay.
the Earth or something.
Okay.
He says, "How about those effing Angels?" Yeah, we had a today we had a parlay.
What they do tonight?
Oh, it
I
was
didn't
in
see
the
what happened.
afternoon. I had a parlay. I had Jose Ramirez 1+ hits, Stephen Kwan 1+ hits, and Angels money line for plus 355. And Ramirez and Kwan both had hits in the first inning, and I'm like, okay, we have Angels plus 355 money line now. This is great, and they went up 3-0. Oh, Andy's gone. He doesn't care about my story. Anyway, so we ended up middling it with Indians plus 2.5, and the Indians came back, so that was unfortunate. But at least we made our money back, and we got the 100% profit boost that from the bet and get. So it wasn't a total loss, right? But that kind of stinks. So all right, you're back.
Yeah.
You didn't
I had
care
to
about
find
my
where I
Angels
left
score.
my. No, you can repeat to me. No, I had to find where my phone was. Unfortunately, the color of this phone matches the color of my recliner,
Oh,
so
okay,
it blended in. That's why I
I see.
couldn't remember that. That's where I put it. I got it now.
Okay. Oh yeah, Harambe. Yes, you were the inspiration behind that. Absolutely. I did the other way too. I took Neto 1+ hits. I took I forget the other guy on the Angels. He got a hit too, and then I took Indians money line, and then that paid out. So yeah, I did it both ways. Yeah, but the one I liked the most, it looked like it was going to pay out with plus 355 on the Angels, but that didn't work out. But we at least got the hedge in. So it's talk about bad beats. Maybe that'll make 2026's year of the bad beat book. Let's see. Drew says, I wonder now if Tucker Kraft being a full go changes things for the Packers. So I don't know if like a tight end like can really impact that much. Like maybe how many wins is Tucker Kraft worth? Like maybe a win. Like, but
How good is their running game?
well, I don't know if Jacobs can be suspended.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
And the defense is my worry with no Parsons and no Rashawn Gary. Um, So yeah, I worry about the defense, and I really don't think the Packers are going to be good this year. How confident are we? Ibuka's back for week one. I'm not that confident, but like I have a feeling he'll play. But it's not a
Who do they play
guarantee.
week one?
Cincinnati,
Oh, okay.
they're plus, I believe, plus 3.5. Okay, so is Cook at 104 too early? No, I've taken Cook at 104 many times. Confident Ibuka plays. Yeah, if anything, yeah, he missed a week or two, but yeah. Patrick says if you want plus 200, plus 300, you have to identify a team that will be like the Patriots last year. Could it be the Giants? And that's the beauty of the NFL. Like there are these upstart teams all the time. Like yeah, not just the Patriots. We saw the Jaguars go from 4 wins to 13. You see this multiple times each year, and yeah, if you can identify it, then you can get a lot of great value here. I will look over this and see what we could come up with. That's not what tonight's episode is all about. But
How does the schedule that the Giants play, for example, compare to the schedule that the Patriots played last year? Keep in mind, the Patriots were given an easy schedule, but even before that, I don't care how difficult the schedule is. When you have back-to-back seasons of 4 wins, and all of a sudden your expected win total for last year 8.5, that tells you that's an improved team regardless of the schedule that it played. It so happens that they took great advantage and they exceeded the 8.5 by 5.5 games, which is unheard of. Okay,
right.
So in other words, there was a lot of expectation with Vrabel coming back to New England and all that this was going to be an improved team. Drake May, played well the second part of the season in his rookie year, and they had some talent around him. They have a little bit more talent to deal with, although they're going to miss your booty with the trade to Houston, but that's going to get a lot of airtime about booty, but shaking and all that. But nonetheless, I don't think the Giants are. In fact, I had this discussion. I think I mentioned it with Evan. Actually, we were talking. He was showing some of his season win plays, and we pretty much agreed that the Giants should be an improved team, but it might not be reflected in the win-loss record.
Yeah, I agree with that. How about Saints to have more wins than the Packers, plus 250? I think that's a good one.
We haven't seen Shook in the preseason, have we?
No. Okay. Kellen Moore, by the way, has yet to win a preseason game.
Okay, because he knows what preseason's about.
Right.
It's not winning.
Exactly. No, not at all.
It's staying healthy, which is random. Other than that, does depend upon who you play and don't play as far as your roster, and also, and I've mentioned this all the time. Purpose of preseason is to get the best 53 non-injured players ready for your opening day roster.
Yeah,
let me put it another way.
I'll
put it another way. I bet you can go back in about 2 minutes and name the winners of the last 10 Super Bowls. How long would it take for you to name, without looking it up, the last 10 winners of the preseason with the best records?
Ravens. Maybe.
Well, that's probably true in some of those years.
Right.
Okay.
Vikings with Zimmer. Yeah.
The point is that, or Dennis Green way back in the day. But no, the point is that, and I just don't bet preseason for the very reason that, I mentioned before, if the goal is to win, you put your best players in the fourth quarter. If the goal is to win. Now, that doesn't mean they're not trying to win, but I'll guarantee if you got together with coaches and said, are you trying to win the game? No. We're trying to execute plays so that when the games count, we can have confidence that these plays will work.
Yeah. So I do like this Saints over plus 250 over the Packers.
Plus 250?
Patrick's saying Browns have the easiest schedule. Well, according to the slew schedule, the slew strength of schedule, the Lions and Saints are tied for the easiest schedule.
And they open the season against each other.
Yeah, that's true. And the Lions have Bills week 2, but after that it gets a lot easier. And the Saints, they obviously play the 6 games against the other teams in the division, and a bunch of other easy games.
All of which are winnable.
Right, and they have a fourth.
You can say that almost about any team in that division, maybe with the exception of Atlanta.
Yeah, and they have a fourth.
The Panthers and the Bucks.
Yeah, they have a fourth place schedule as well, so that helps with their strength of schedule. So I would be looking at the Saints with some of these pluses. I think Packers are my favorite. You also have what would be a good one? Like if you think the Chiefs continue their downfall, plus 310. You know,
What's the you mean the downfall? What's that? How's that defined?
well, last year they won 6 games last year. You know, if they continue to regress off their constant
What?
constant
You would
winning.
what? Play them under 5.5 or something? Is that how you mean? Or
No, no, no. You would play Saints to have more wins than the Chiefs at plus three
oh, okay.
ten.
Say okay. I didn't catch that
Yeah,
part. Okay, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like the Eagle, you dislike the Eagles plus 320 over the Eagles.
I don't
Um,
really dislike them. I'm just
mhm.
not as high on them as I've been the last few years. Now that's the Eagles against who?
Saints. These are all Saints.
Oh, against Saints.
Yeah, Saints to have more
I
wins
would
than
I'd probably go with the Eagles still.
Saints to have more wins than the Colts plus 155. That looks pretty nice.
That one is reasonable because we don't know about Daniel Jones. We don't know about some of the other players that they've already lost from
Hmm.
when they start the season. So, yeah, I could
Yeah,
certainly see that. This is what Saints over Colts
yeah. Saints
plus
over Colts is
155.
and Saints over Steelers is plus 160.
I'd probably have more confidence in over the Colts than I would over the Steelers, simply because of the coaching edge that Pittsburgh has with McCarthy. I know you don't like him, but they have an edge. And again, it's a winning culture there that's been winning for 20 years. And how much of a difference Tomlin not being there, we'll find out. Many people are suggesting Tomlin left at the right time.
Yes. Yeah, to abandon the sinking ship.
Yeah,
Goodbye. Yeah. Patrick,
but
I'm gonna. Yeah,
it's still a team that had a winning record last year and did so by winning the most important game of the season that last Sunday night against Baltimore.
they did. So yeah, Patrick, I'm gonna look over these, see if I can find something interesting. So yeah, that's really cool. Thanks for alerting
Yeah,
me of these. And also alerting me that FanDuel has futures because for some reason they're buried on the website. I don't know why, but
yeah,
that's the case.
that one, and I
So
guess they also have. I don't know that you showed it there. Will or won't make playoffs.
yeah, they have. Yeah, they have the playoff ones
Yeah,
too. So
and you
all
can
right.
bet and you can bet yes or no.
Yes, right,
Okay.
exactly. All right, let's get to the win totals. Let me pull that up here. So we did AFC last time, so we're going to do NFC teams this time.
Yeah, I
And
missed the. I think I missed the last 2 weeks, if I
you were
recall.
yes, you were out the past 2 weeks,
Yeah.
but you are back, and I think
Actually,
this,
actually, I think I missed 3 of the last 4 because I think I missed the week before my birthday, which was the 29th, because you were here on the 22nd in Vegas.
yeah. I think I missed your birthday because my son was sick.
Oh,
Um,
maybe that was it. Okay, maybe we didn't do it that week. Well, then I missed the next week because some friends were in from out of town and we had a dinner. And then
yes.
last week, my sister was in town for 3 days or three
Right,
nights,
right,
or
right.
both.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, that night
I'm glad I recognize you.
that night
Being a little older.
I was recording a short video, like a 10-15 minute video.
Uh huh.
And like toward the end, I was like 2 minutes away from being finished. I feel like a presence here. I'm like I turn and like shocked my son's standing right there. I'm
Oh,
like, oh my god! I'm like, oh my god! Like, and it was like, I'm still recording. I'm like, oh my god, he scared me. He's like, Daddy, I threw up. I'm like, oh man, it's horrible. So he had like a 4 day.
did that make the recording?
No,
Did that
I
make
had
it
to
go up?
re-record. I had to re-record because I let it go. No, yeah, he had like a 4 day stint where he was just throwing up like at night. It was so weird. He only threw up at night, but not during the day. I don't understand what
Maybe
was
he's a
happening there.
werewolf.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was a no, full moon. Yeah, it was a full moon back then, I think. So yeah, maybe I don't know. Maybe my son is a werewolf. Anyway, let's get to the NFC teams.
Okay.
Let's start with the NFC East.
Okay.
Unless you want to start with something else.
No, no, I think we did that in the AFC. We went east, north, south, west.
Okay. All right. Well, the Cowboys are. And by the way, I joined you with some of my bonus bets. I
Oh,
joined
okay.
you on betting the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Again, I was the cheapskate who did it for free, but just wanted to have a rooting interest with you on
Yeah.
that. The Cowboys, their basis is 9.5. Now, obviously, we're going to lean over because you like them, and so the over 10.5, if you like that,
That,
is
yes,
plus 200. So how do you
I
feel
like
about the
that
Cowboys?
also.
Okay, you would bet plus 200 on over 10 and a
Yeah.
half,
What's the over 9.5? Is that plus 105 or something?
plus 100 on over 9.5.
Okay, so that's even now. Okay. Yeah. No, I think this team is capable with the defensive improvements, and they returned what everybody on the offense, this all starters on offense. So that's an
Yes.
extra year of experience that they have together. So that theoretically they should only grow. So I think this is capable of being an 11-6 team. Remember, 3 of the last 6 or 7 years, I think they won 12 games under McCarthy. I think one of those was a 16 games season, 12-4. I think the other
Yep.
two were 12-5. So the talent is still there, and it's been improved.
Yeah. Yeah. They added Rashawn Gary.
Yeah,
They added. Yeah. They added Von Miller too for depth. And
they
then
got.
Caleb
Yeah,
Downs.
I. By the way, what'd you think of that Von Miller signing? I liked it.
Oh, it's great. It's great. I mean, one year, there's no downside. It's all upside. I mean, he's not the same player he once was, but he's not going to be asked
Great
to play
locker
every
room
down.
player. Great locker room presence.
Yeah,
That
I mean, look,
counts for a lot.
he's going to be asked to play what, like 30,
Quentin Williams there
35
now
snaps a
for
game,
the
30, 35 snaps a game.
was it Quentin Williams there now for the entire summer instead of coming
Yep.
midseason?
Yep. Yep. And yeah, Rashawn Gary too. Like the
Yeah,
defense is looking. It's not going to be a bottom five defense at all. It's going to
should
be
be.
at least middle of the pack, I think.
Yeah,
And that offense is very explosive.
that's one
So
of the
yeah,
things I like about. That's one of the things that I like about my exacta with the Texans and the Cowboys, the Texas two-step, is that you got one team with a great offense and they'll just need an average defense, and the other team with a great defense and they'll just need an average offense to
yep.
make the playoffs.
I like that too. Yeah, and Tom, by the way, loves the Texas shootout here. He recommended that a few
Well,
weeks
I'm
ago.
sorry. I'm sorry he can't make it to Vegas this summer.
Oh, he didn't. Oh, I didn't know that. I haven't. We haven't done a show this month.
Oh,
Uh,
okay. Yeah, and
we take he takes August off, so
he sent me an email ago, and yeah,
that's a shame.
I think he's dog sitting or something like that. He mentioned.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I sort of knew that situation. So, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I was gonna ask you, do you like over 11.5 plus 370?
I'm not going to be greedy because I can collect over the 9.5 and the 10.5. That's if I getting close to plus the 370.
Okay.
It's
All
getting
right. Next.
plus. It's getting plus 300.
Okay.
And
Next.
I don't want to take that much of a risk of losing half of, assuming they're all equal wagers, half of what I would have won by already taking the risk on going over the alternate high of the 10.5.
Is that something where you maybe put a small bet on it just to
No, I'd rather use that investment to find something I feel more confident in, where I don't have to worry about a team, going from over 9.5 to 12 wins.
Okay. All right. The next team that we have
How
here.
how about you on that? What'd you do?
I haven't actually bet that yet, but I would bet over the 9.5 and, well, not the 9.5, just the 10, a small bet on over 10.5.
Okay.
Is what I would do. Okay, so we have the Giants here. Their over under is 7.5. I have them at 8 wins in my season preview, so I'm like basically at the number. So the over 8.5 is plus 160, if you're wondering, and the under 6.5 is plus 154. What do you think about the Giants?
Probably won't make a play, but I do lean to the under 7.5.
Okay, I think that what you said, when you were talking with Evan, is
Improved.
correct. Yes,
Yeah.
they're going to be better this year, but the schedule's not that easy.
And you
you know,
have to, and it's still going to be a worry about Blue Tent Jackson.
yeah. Also, every time I want to bet over on the Giants, I think that Matt Nagy is coaching the team, the offense, and I'm like, man, I don't know. Why'd they hire that
Did
guy?
Scannaboo have like a fight in practice or something again?
Yeah.
I just saw the headline. Yeah.
He dove at some defensive back's legs or something, and then that
On his
started
team.
the fight. Yeah,
On
on
his
his
own
team.
team, yeah.
Yeah. So that's not good, but no, I do love Scatabo, but yeah, it's not a good thing. So I'm not making a play. I'm really not making a play either. I would love to. I wish they had an easier schedule. I wish this was the Patriots last year, where they had a very easy schedule and they could make a big jump, and I wish they added a good offensive coordinator, but it's not really the case. But I do like the team. I like the direction the team is going. I just don't think that they're going to get there this year. But
I think 7 and 10 would be a marked improvement and reasons for optimism for next year. Could they win 8 or 9 games? I suppose so. But look, it's a tough schedule. They start they host Dallas on that first Monday night, on the first Sunday night game, and then they're at the Rams, I think.
Yeah. Yes.
next. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty tough. So, um, kind of unlike the Patriots last year, where they had even though they lost week one, they had Raiders, then they had Dolphins, then they had Steelers.
Yeah.
Just so many easy games. So, how about the Eagles? You said they're a declining team. Do you like the under? The under 10.5 is minus 140. The under 9.5 is plus 130. I'm pretty much on the number here as well. So what do you think about this team?
What's the under 9.5?
The under 9.5 is plus 130,
And the 10.5?
minus 140.
Don't know that I would play it, but I would lean under the 10.5 at the minus 140.
Okay. I'm not playing
I
this
could
one.
see 10 and 7.
Yeah, I could see 9, 9, 8, 10, and 7, or 11, 6. Any
Well,
one of
you
those.
see, the 9 and 8 would be, and I know they split with the Giants last year, and I think they split with Washington. But
Yeah,
I
split
could
with
see,
everyone.
yeah, split with everyone. So I could see, that. So, 3 and 3 in the division means to go 9 and 8. They go 6 and 5 the rest of the way.
Yeah. Well, I
And
don't know.
they play a first place schedule.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm kind of torn here. Like I do think there might be regression. No AJ Brown, which better locker room, but no number one receiver. Well, I like Devontae Smith, but like no, like you don't have two number ones anymore.
Well,
But
remember,
yeah,
despite the issues they had, he still gained what 1,100 yards last year. AJ.
yeah, yeah, and they still have a great defense. They added Jonathan Grenard,
Yeah.
so that should help. They still have their great defensive coordinator. So I Vic Fangio. So like, yeah, I like this team, but I don't love this team, and I think there could be some regression, as I said. So I don't. I'm not going to play
So
this one.
you're going to pass on Philly totally.
Yeah, passing totally. Yeah.
Okay.
And the Redskins, by the way, they are selling Redskins merchandise. I don't know if you saw that. The total
Are
is.
they?
Yeah. That
I
was
didn't hear
breaking.
that.
That was breaking news today. They are selling Redskins merchandise again. Yeah. Made some people mad, made some people laugh.
You know what
Like,
they ought to do, and obviously they can control it. But if they make it public, let's say over the first month of the season or through the entire regular season, which will they sell more of, Redskin merchandise or Commanders merchandise? I would bet
Jeez.
on Redskins.
I would too, and I think they might be testing the waters for changing the name back.
Yeah.
If Redskins outsells Commanders by a large margin,
Yeah.
I think they might go back to it. So anyway, the win total is 7.5. I think this team could be in free fall. Their offensive line, it looks like a disaster with their left tackle, Laramie Tunsil out. I like this team more earlier in the summer, but like there's no Tunsil now. That was kind of like my bull case on them is like, their blocking would be better than it was 2 years ago because of Tunsil, but he's gone. So they have a big problem on the offensive line. They added Stephon Diggs, who I think he's washed up. Like I don't understand. I mean, I get that signing, but like it's not going to help them that much. Their defense could still be in shambles. By the way, Sonny Styles, which I love the pick. He's looked awful in the preseason. I don't know, like maybe small sample size, or maybe he gets better, but he's looked totally lost. I think this team
Now, are you
could
talking
be
about in games or what they've shown of him in practice?
in games. Yeah.
Okay.
I think this team could be the worst in the division, and so I am suddenly leaning under. The under 7.5 is minus 115. The under 6.5 is plus 160. I would maybe consider that, but then again, Jane Daniels is he's kind of like the X factor. He can win.
So
some
you're
games on
leaning
his own.
under, but not necessarily playing it.
Yeah, that's how I'm leaning. What about you?
Yeah, I lean under 7 and
Okay.
10. Well, they what were they? 4 wins last year, or 5?
Let
Or
me
was it better
look
than
that up.
that?
I thought it was 5. Could be wrong. Let's see. They were 5 and 12. Yeah.
Yeah, so I could see them going 7 and 10, which would be an improvement from last year, but not enough to reach where they were when they were 11 and 6 or 12 and 5
Right.
when they made the playoffs 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So I lean under.
Yeah, I thought I put one of my bonus bets I put on Washington to win the Super Bowl just on the off chance that they recapture that magic that they had in 2024.
Who's their star runner this year?
That would be Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. I don't know if
Like
you
I
call
said,
this.
who's their star? I mean, he's not very well proven, is he?
No, not at all. I mean, they drafted a couple guys, Katron Allen. But he was playing into the third quarter of the preseason, so I don't know how much they like him. They added Rashad White to catch passes, but he got hurt doing an ice bucket challenge. So I don't know if he's going to be available.
And Deebo Samuel's back where he belongs.
Yep, Debo's gone. They added Stephon Diggs. Diggs is washed up. Yeah, it's not looking great. Okay, so let's go to the North Division, which is the I think the most fun one because they have the easiest schedule, playing the NFC South.
The balance in the NFC North is similar to the balance in the NFC South. The difference being the NFC North is good balance, the South is bad balance or weaker balance.
Exactly. It's funny how it works out that way. Chicago is the first team we're going to talk about. Their over 9.5 is plus 105. The over 10.5 is plus 170. I have this team winning 11 games, so I am definitely looking over. I worry about their.
What did you say the 9.5 was plus
105.
Okay.
And the over 10.5 is plus 170. If you're curious about over 11.5, that's plus 310. I worry about the team's pass rush. I don't know where it's going to come from outside of Sweat. No. And they lost their center to retirement. Right. But that's the only two negatives I can think of with the Bears.
Well,
I think
other than the fact that they won so many close games last year.
That's true too. Yeah.
Now, Mike comment there said, "Well, they're regress." I said, "Yeah, but it's a young team, second year coach, second year of a quarterback with a legitimate coach. Who's to say those 3-point wins last year don't turn into 7 to 10-point wins this year?"
Yeah, and they have an easier schedule too this year. So you have two things maybe offsetting that one thing. So don't they play the number one schedule, first place schedule? The Bears. We can look at the SLU rankings. Actually, I don't know if I do have them right here.
SLU are your power ratings, right?
These are based on my power rankings. So the Bears I have
are those end of season are those end of season power rankings, or are they start of seasons this year with adjustments being made for off season moves?
Start of this season power rankings. I have the Bears tied for the 9th easiest schedule.
Okay, but it's still a first place schedule.
Sure, right.
But let me ask you.
But then again, you have think about it this way: that first place schedule, you have the Eagles, who you think are going to regress.
Yeah.
You have the NFC South team they play anyway, and then you have the Seahawks is tough, but I'd rather play Seahawks than Rams this year. With Myles Garrett there.
Now let me ask you another question. When you do your power rankings for strength of schedule, do you adjust or account for the layout, the sequencing, the chronology of the schedule?
No, these were just based on the teams.
Just based on because look, you take a look at Denver's first half of the season. This team could be like 2-7.
I know, I know. That could they could be buried for sure. In fact,
I just took a look. I had when we did this 2 years ago, or whenever it seems like it was a long time. I did have Denver under 9.5.
Okay.
And I think that was a large part of my reasoning is that they may dig themselves too big of a hole. Yeah. After all, we know they're starting 0-2.
Yes.
With Sean Payton.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Well, no, they're at Kansas City, and I forget who their second game is against.
There's by the way, there's a coach who is winless in the first 2 weeks of the season, despite having coached 3 seasons, at least 3 seasons.
It's not Zach Taylor.
No, it's not. Zach Taylor's a bad record as well.
Yeah, no, but he finally got it together last year.
Sort of.
I think it was 1-1, wasn't he? I know it was a tough win against Cleveland to open the season.
Yeah, they got outgained by the Browns by 200 yards and like 3 yards per play. It was they were so lucky to win that game. That was, by the way, the first regular season NFL game I wrote about in Year of the Bad Beat.
Oh, okay.
Because I had the money line in that. I played the side. That was my biggest play of the month. But I also played the money line, and the money line lost, even though like the Browns dominated that game. It was hard, yeah.
It's hard to say that a loss by the Cleveland Browns is a bad beat.
I know. It was crazy. By the way, this is not the answer to that question. Dan Quinn is 2-6 against the spread
Oh,
in week
okay.
one. Dan Quinn is 2-6 against the spread in week one. The coach I was telling you about is D'Amico Ryans. He in weeks 1 and 2 he is 0-6 against the spread.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So
How many of
I
those have been? How many of those have been typical D'Amico Ryan close games?
well last year they lost two close games. Remember they
I
played the
remember the
Rams
Rams, yeah,
and then
and lost to
the Buccaneers. Then they
Tampa
played the
Bay, yeah,
Buccaneers on Monday night. Yeah.
yeah,
So
and they were both
um,
like 2 or 3 point losses.
yeah, there are some coaches who do really well the first 2 weeks. Like Matt LaFleur is 11-3 against the spread in weeks 1 and 2. So I have all these numbers. We can go over them when we get to week one.
Yeah, week one, yeah,
Yeah. Zach Taylor, by the way, 5-8 against the spread in the first 2 weeks.
not as bad as I
Um,
thought.
yeah, it's true. Okay, so as far as the
Because
Bears,
because that
yeah,
although that is with Joe Burrow the first 2 games.
yeah.
It's just
Okay,
five.
so with the Bears, I would definitely consider the over 10.5 plus 170. It would be a small play. It wouldn't be anything crazy, but that's where I would go. What do you think?
What's that? 10.5 plus 170.
Mm-hmm.
I will likely play the over 9.5 at the plus 105.
Okay, and then no, you don't like 10.5.
No, when I take a look at all these things, I'd rather spend, rather than take a little bit of a risk. Because remember, you only play 16 games. There's a very thin margin, and the margin gets thinner and thinner as you go up the over plays that you make and down the under plays that you make. So there's, more of a risk or less of a opportunity for them to show, if I normally I like to see if I can have like a 2-win edge over a number that I'm going to go over that I feel good about. Like I could see going over the 11.5, for example, with Dallas, but I'm already over 9.5 and 10.5. Now with Chicago over 9.5, do I think I could go over 11.5 and get them to 12-5? I'm not sure because of the division that they're in.
Okay. Um. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I like I said, I have them at 11 wins, so I think I would play the
No.
over 10.5. But yeah, I mean, at the same time, kind of wondering if the 9.5 is the best way to go, given how tough that division is. So,
Well,
I'll have to
again,
think about it.
it's a positive return plus
Yeah.
105.
Yeah. That's
Would I lay 120 to go over 9.5? Unlikely.
yeah. Same.
Although I do have a good opinion of the Bears, but I'd much it's not 6-5 opinion.
Right. Okay, next team is the Lions. Their over 10.5 is minus 115. The over 11.5 is plus 175. I have the Lions winning 12 games and winning in the division. They have the easiest schedule in the NFL, tied with the Saints. I remember Evan coming on the show briefly, I think when we last recorded, and we brought up the Lions, and he looked at his spreadsheet and he wrote "joke" when looking at strength of schedule, which it is a complete joke. Yeah, they play at Buffalo.
Schedule, yeah.
Yeah, fourth place schedule.
There's your worst, the first team this year.
Right. Yeah, fourth place schedule and the NFC South. They have that duo. They have one tough. They have a couple. Look, they have a couple tough games. Like they play the Bills and Patriots, and obviously Bears twice, Vikings twice. If you think they're going to improve, but like otherwise, they're all their other opponents are easy. So,
excuse me for a moment because I want to get my scheduled book that I have. Hold on.
Okay. So I would go over 11.5 plus 175. I wish this were a better number, but like. I think Vegas knows what's up based on this number. It kind of reminds me of last year when the Patriots were over 8.5 and they won 3 games the year before. It's like they have to get a winning record for you to win this. It's like it reminds me of like an options chain in the market where like an option will be so expensive, but it's like because you're going to make money off this. Like they're not going to make it easy for you or for most people. So I would definitely go. I would go over 11.5, but I wish it was a better number. But yeah, they're not making it easy for us. But they know that.
So which are you going over?
11.5. Like, the sports, the bookmakers they know that they know how easy the schedule is. They know what's going on here. The same way they knew.
What's the price on the over 11.5?
Plus 175. They know. That they like last year they knew that the Patriots schedule was easy. Like they're not dummies. So Yeah, they're definitely factoring that in.
Oh,
So
that's why they went for a team that hadn't won 8 games in two,
right,
2 years combined. Their number was 8.5, and they still blew past it.
right, exactly. So yeah, so I'm going over here. What do you think? What are you doing?
What do I have to lay to go over the 10.5?
Minus 115.
That's probably going to be a play. Once again, it's a competitive division. I could, if, I know neither of us like Green Bay all that these teams go 4-2 in the division. That let's say I don't think it'll happen, but let's say the Lions sweep the Packers, which is unlikely but not impossible, because they. Well, let me ask this: how does Detroit's defense for you compare to last year?
I think they have a good defense. The one flaw they have is their safeties. Both safeties are out to start the year. Now they'll get them back eventually. But it's not a bad defense by any
Well,
means.
you're going up against what? What would you call Caleb Williams a capable How would you rate the three quarterbacks that Detroit will face in their division? Love, Williams, and let's say Kyler Murray.
I'm not a Murray fan.
Okay.
Love. Well, then again, he's better McCarthy, but still. And plus Murray, I think Murray's going to get hurt. He always gets hurt. So the question is it going to be McCarthy or Wentz? And I have a feeling.
I would say, even though it's possible, I don't like to make. I mean, we understand that it's possible because of his history, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen. So
Yeah, but it's all but one year he's got. Yeah, all but
Yeah.
1 year he's gotten injured.
Oh,
So
maybe they got a better training workout regimen in Minnesota than they do in Arizona.
perhaps. Green Bay, Jordan Love, I think he's very streaky. Sometimes he falls into this trap
Would
where
you
he.
rate him ahead or behind of Caleb? At this point? Also, given the coaching that they work with, and I think LaFleur's a good
Right.
coach.
Oh yeah, I like LaFleur too.
As far as offense goes. Yeah.
I th- I think I would, based on the upside, I think I would go Caleb Williams. I think Jordan Love, when he's at his best, I think he's the best quarterback in the division when he's at his best. But he's so streaky, he'll have these games where he throws off his back foot for like 3 weeks in a row. But then like he'll like get in tune, and like I guess LaFleur fixes his problems, and like he'll just be unstoppable, like he was in that Steelers game on that Sunday night.
You'd rate Murray the third of the three. Yeah.
Yeah. He's definitely the worst. Caleb Williams.
How much is Murray's number 3 ranking as the quarterback that the Lions will face? How much of that is tempered somewhat by the defense that supports him? In other words, the defense can overcome. I would think that the Minnesota defense can overcome any mistakes by Kyler Murray, perhaps more so than either the Packers defense can overcome Love's mistakes or that the Bears defense can overcome Williams' mistakes.
I just think Jared Goff has such a good matchup against Minnesota. Like he handles the blitz well, and I think that if you're just talking matchups against the Lions,
the thing is though that Minnesota does a lot of scoring against Detroit in recent years, as I recall.
Well, a couple back when the Lions were 15-2, they swept the Vikings.
Yeah.
They scored a lot.
And the Vikings were 14-3, and I think weren't there a couple of high-scoring games in there?
Yes, they scored a lot of points against the Vikings both times. Last year,
I was thinking Minnesota scoring points against the Lions.
Oh, okay, yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
In other words, it's one thing to beat a team. Let's say Detroit beating Minnesota, 27-13 versus 32-27.
Yeah. Well, last year Minnesota got him back. They swept them, but that second game Detroit just mailed in.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, look, Murray's still last, but yeah, the defense was helped.
Yeah, because to your point, remember 2 years ago, wasn't it Detroit beat Minnesota to win the division?
Yes, in the final week. Yeah, that Sunday night game. Yeah, no, I mean Murray's still last even with the defense. But Caleb Williams' accuracy was very poor last year. Now, he was super clutch in the end. Like he made some great throws in the fourth quarter, but his deep like 10+ downfield accuracy was really bad. So that
how did that progress over the course of the season, considering it was the first year that he got good coaching? and with Ben Johnson, and you
Yeah.
normally, again, I ask you this question not knowing the answer, but I wouldn't hold that 10-yard thing against him as much if he showed improvement from the start of the season through the playoffs,
Yeah.
as opposed to if it was erratic throughout the season, great in poor in week 1, poor in week 2, really good in week 3, poor in week, etc. What
Yeah.
was the arc of
No,
that?
no, yeah, it got better. I mean, you remember that he got a rough start. Like he lost to
Yeah,
Minnesota week 1, JJ McCarthy, and then week 2 they got blown out by the Lions, and
right.
week 4 they should have lost to the Raiders. If they don't block the field goal at the end, the Raiders probably win the game. So like yeah, they started very poorly, and then he got better, but he still had his flaws. Like everyone remembers that touchdown he threw to Cole Kmet in the playoff game against the Rams, but
Right.
then he in overtime he throws the interception.
Yeah.
So there's definitely some bad, but they're
Yeah,
good.
but you
But
know what?
it's the
You
second
can say
year.
that about almost every player in the league. That you can say, well, this place is offset. The point that I'm looking for, whether it exists or not, you can tell me, is that by the end of the season, Caleb Williams was a much more polished quarterback than he was at the start of the season under Ben Johnson, which is really one way. You can always pick out yes, but, but I'm talking overall. He progressed like you like to see a quarterback with a first-year coach and a coach with his first year with a quarterback. You like to see that progress being made, kind of like with the Saints and with Moore. Okay, the improvement that the Saints showed offensively from the start of the season to the end of the season. There are still some issues at the end of the season, but this was a team that, again, the arc that I like to see is improvement with coaches and or quarterbacks in their first season, whether they're getting better, whether they're too erratic, and you can't say he showed some consistency because he went good week, bad week, good week, bad week, bad week, bad week, good week, etc.
He got better. I don't think it was like a huge difference, but he definitely improved as year went
Well,
on.
let me ask you this way: how about games 1 through 8 through 9 through 17?
Yeah, the second half was better, yeah, but it wasn't like that much better,
Right.
But I think that having a whole off season, plus having like Burden, having more experience, Loveland, these guys are rookies too. Remember, so they have more experience as well in the NFL, so that'll help. So yeah, I'm expecting him to make a leap this year. Like he could be the best quarterback for sure out of those three. So
Yeah. So anyway, so I'm probably leaning. Well, I'm going to be playing over the Bears 9.5, and I'm likely to play. I haven't yet, and I'm still deciding. Lions over 10.5.
okay. All right, we have Green Bay. My favorite team here. We have the under is plus 110. The under
What
eight.
number?
Under
What
eight and a
number are
half.
we looking at? What's the number you're using? 9.5.
Under 9.5 is plus 110. The under 8.5 is plus 194. I bet this already. I bet actually bet under 7.5 plus 286 at
What
BetMGM.
What numbers did you play under?
I bet under 7.5 plus 286 at BetMGM. And I will be betting the under 8.5. I just haven't done that yet. I will be betting
6.5.
7.5.
Okay, you didn't play the under 6.5 yet.
I haven't seen under 6.5.
Okay.
There's not available. So I will be playing under 8.5 at some point before the season. Yeah. So
I have not made the play yet, but I'm likely to play the under 9.5 at the plus 110.
Okay.
And be happy with that. Again,
okay.
Doubling my money.
Okay. All right. Mega Alexander.
I'm doubling my money on what is effectively a 50-50 proposition.
Okay. Mega Alexander is asking, hey, Walt, if you're drafting this Sunday, speaking of the Packers, where are you taking Josh Jacobs? Do you think he'll get suspended and when? I think that he will more likely get suspended than not. We don't know. Like Goodell is so inconsistent with these suspensions.
What's the suspension for? Is that the sexual assault thing?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Serious?
So
was it not that any of them were not serious, but I mean, what were the specifics? Was it really bad, repeated, more than one victim, or?
It was. I mean, just preliminary domestic abuse related allegations. Like I don't know. We don't know exactly what happened. That's
it wasn't Ray Rice bad.
Well, I mean, the thing about Ray Rice was like we knew what he did, and yet he was still playing. And then when the video came out, then he never played again.
Well, that's it. That's what I mean. That this was.
Yeah. So I don't know. Is there if there was video Jacobs, and we saw it, would he be like banned forever? I don't know. We don't know what happened, and they're just allegations. Maybe he didn't do anything.
when did this occur?
I,
Was it during
I,
the
I
off
just,
season?
yeah.
Early? I seem to think it had to be early. Or we would have heard something now.
It was. I think it was in is May 26th.
Oh, was it that late? Okay,
Yeah.
that's 3 months ago. Three
Yeah.
months ago to the day.
Yeah. So we don't know what's going on there. They're still doing the investigation.
Now
Because
he's fully able to participate in practice. There's no
right now, yeah,
limitations from the
right
league.
now,
Yeah.
yeah. But suspension could come down at any point. It's a risk. Mike Lucchine, who from NFLRoughDraft.com, we had him on the show, and he said that he believes it'll be 2027 the suspension, but that's not based on any news
Why
or
would that?
any
Why
or
would
any
that be the
sources.
case? Why would that
Because the NFL takes so long with their investigations. Like Rashi Rice was suspended a year after the incident, so that's happened before. So there's precedent for it. But Schefter said that he said that there's a good chance that Jacobs is suspended this year. So I think it's slightly more 50-50 than not. So I would take him round four.
I would like to see that decision come down before the third preseason game, so that the team has an option or an ability to at least make a little bit of an adjustment during a week of practice or scrimmages and in a game to give the running back, look, to get the timing down, for delay a game, not delay a game, but illegal motion, things like that with the offensive line. I don't think you want to penalize the team by delaying a decision like that. Penalize the player, but don't penalize the team by making it very like, okay, the backup running back is now I assume that they've already have some plans with the backup running back, but until they're certain that they're going to have to rely on him as a starting running back, I think the NFL should be a little bit if there's any question, or at the very least announce by what date they will have a decision.
Yeah, I mean that's
the uncertainty.
That's something that
it's forget about it not being fair. Forget about it not being fair to fantasy football players. It's not fair to the teammates. It's not fair to the opponents.
Yeah, Goodell's a little slow with these things.
Well, the thing is, and maybe you have research on this, okay? Because it is something that it may sound why bother, but it could really be insightful when Goodell has made decisions. It's kind of like the verdict on a jury.
Right.
The longer it takes, the more likely it's going to be an acquittal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because you're not going to get everybody unanimous. My question would be, given similar type suspensions that have or have not occurred in the past, has there been a correlation between the length of time between the announcement of an initial investigation and the determination of guilt or innocence? Is there a correlation between long periods of time versus short periods of time? As to, if it's been 3 months and they haven't decided anything, that usually means he's going to be acquitted. They just want to check everything out, as opposed to, no, we wanted to take the extra time to make sure that if we do suspend him, there's good reasons. I don't know if anybody's done any league-wide research on that.
I have not. It's not in my database, so I don't know.
No, but you understand what I'm.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. I don't know, but as far as drafting on Sunday, I would take him round 4. I don't know, Andy. Do you do any fantasy football?
I don't have the time now. I used to play every year for like 30 years.
Okay.
Didn't change game. Back when I started playing, running backs were important.
Yeah, there still are. I recommend drafting four in the first 6 rounds.
Not that they still are. They are again.
Yeah, they're very scarce this year. Like the scarce.
No, what
like
I'm
by
saying
far
is
the scarcest
it was a
position.
long period of time where running backs were not that important, and now in recent years, they've started to take their importance. But yeah,
past few years, it's definitely gotten more important. So, yeah, I'd say round four, mid round 4, something like that. That's I don't think I'll take round 2.
Would that be a running back number 2 in round 4?
Hopefully round number 3. I've done, and you're gonna love this. I've done 133 drafts this summer. I'm in 133 leagues.
You basically have about 80% of every player in the league, at least somewheres, on one of your teams.
So I could tell you the exposures of every single player that I have.
Okay.
Blake Corum, by the way, is my most owned player of 55% of my teams.
Interesting.
Um, I barely have any Jacobs. He's just like he's going a little too early for my taste. I see some people drafting it in round two. I'm like, there's just too much risk here. I just can't do
Yeah.
it. So, but round four, it's less risk. So
What's his? Because I know he has some injury history.
Yeah, he missed the. He actually doesn't have that much of an injury history. Like he missed a few games with the Raiders that one year.
Yeah.
But he's usually pretty durable.
Didn't he miss time last year with some injuries?
Did he? I don't recall that.
I seem to think that he missed a couple of games. I may be wrong, but I seem to think it was last year with the Packers.
Let me see. He played 15 games last year, so he missed
Okay.
two.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Now, how
anyways.
many did he start?
I assume 15.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, so we're playing under Packers.
Yeah.
They don't have 7.5 here, but you can get 7.5 from BetMGM. Okay. So, and the last team in the division, the Vikings, their win total is 8.5. And for the Vikings, my projected record for them is 8-9. So I'm right on the number.
What's the over 8.5?
Over 8.5 is minus 120. Over 9.5 is plus 154. So are you playing this one? I'm not.
Okay, over 9.5 is what? Plus 154.
Yeah.
And you're passing on Minnesota.
Yeah. I'm right on the number
Right?
here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like that. I like the way they ended last season. They were 4-8. They're not making the playoffs, and I don't care who they played. They went 5-0. Team did not quit.
Yeah.
I like that. That that has some enthusiasm. I don't know that you have the kind of plus who was it? Was it Roseman, the backup that played some last year?
Yeah. Max Brosmer. Yeah.
Brosman, yeah. They don't seem to have that type of situation this year. It seems like it's clearly Kyler Murray to start and JJ, if needed. But I don't know. I like the fact, and again, I like they have. Would you agree that they have the best defense in the division?
Yeah. Yes.
Is it close to one of the other teams?
When Parsons comes back for Green Bay, yes, but we don't
Okay.
know when he's coming back or at what capacity.
Yeah. So I think the fact that they've been let me see where they are here.
Yeah.
Minnesota.
And by the way, real quick, while you're looking that up, I think that Wentz would be the QB2 for the Vikings and not McCarthy.
Oh, okay.
I think McCarthy will be traded at some point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They'll just give up.
I think they're fed.
Yeah.
I think they're fed up with him.
If you look at Minnesota, go ahead.
I was going to say, like they're like the Vikings the Cardinals, they got a second round pick for Josh Rosen. Now the Vikings are not going to get that, but I think they could get something like a mid round pick for him, given that he was a first round pick.
Who's the backup with the Chargers?
Trey Lance.
I wonder if Jim Harbaugh might want to have him.
That's the I think the low hanging fruit there. I think that makes sense.
Has that been speculated about?
I've seen speculation. I don't nothing from the team, but anytime he's on the trade blocks, his coach is doesn't have the best backup. So
yeah. Just going back, and this I guess this includes playoffs. They were 13-5, 7-10, 14-4, 9-8. So they're a good organization. So I would tend to bet on the organization, especially with a quality defense. I mean, okay, let me ask you this question. Who's got all things considered, who's got the best defense in the NFC?
I think you have to say the Rams with Myles Garrett, and especially if Aaron Donald comes back.
Yeah, okay.
And then I would say the Eagles after that. Seattle, of course. Seattle's up there. So the three best defenses.
You don't put Minnesota in the what 4 or 5 out of the 5.
I put them 4. I think a distant 4 from the top 3. They did lose Jonathan Grenard. That's a big loss.
I would also put in one other factor, and again, I don't know what the numbers say.
Uh-huh.
But consider the offenses that Minnesota has faced in the NFC Central versus the offenses that, let's say, the Eagles have faced in the NFC East.
Um,
The numbers for the Vikings would expect them to be weaker overall because a third of their schedule, 6 of their 17 games, are against three pretty good offensive teams.
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
As opposed to the Eagles, and again, I'm not trying to put down the Eagles. I'm
Mm,
just saying that, yeah, you got the Cowboys, which is probably the equivalent of one of the top two teams in the NFC Central,
right.
whether it be Chicago or Detroit. Okay.
Hmm.
And then you've got Washington and the Giants. And Washington, of course, last year, was not the same team they were the year before. And then the Giants were the Giants.
Yeah. Well, the Eagles stole one of the Vikings' best players.
Yeah.
I say stole. They traded for him, but still. So that's definitely a factor. So yeah, I think I'd put Minnesota number 4 as defense in the NFC.
Yeah. So I've got them over the 8.5, and I'll consider the over 9.5. I think this is a 10-7 team.
Okay. I think I would lean over more than under, but I don't see myself betting this one. All right, let's go.
Let me just take a quick look at their schedule.
Okay.
They open at home to Green Bay, at Chicago, at Tampa Bay, home to Miami. That's a win. At New Orleans, that could be a telltale game.
Mm-hmm.
I like this. I like the Vikings simply because they have a bye after the New Orleans game on the road.
Okay.
And they come back, host the Colts at Detroit, host Buffalo at Green Bay, host San Francisco, neutral site San Francisco, home to Atlanta and Carolina, at New England, then host Detroit, Washington, at the Jets, and host Chicago. I think they can squeeze 10 wins out of there. Because there are a lot of toss-up games in there and a lot of games in which they should be solid favorites of, let's say, 6 or more.
Yeah, according to the SLU rankings, the strength of schedule, they have the 7th easiest schedule. So maybe over is worth looking at after all. I'll think about it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the NFC South. They're our favorite division. The Falcons are their win total is 7.5 here. It's actually probably a more natural 7. I think the team's gonna be awful this year. Tua's brains scrambled. Like, he looks awful. I don't know if you saw any preseason action from Tua. He looks like a complete shell of himself. He just looks so bad. I don't even know if he should not be in the NFL any longer. So I would go under 7.5. Both their edge rushers are out. Like, one guy's suspended, one guy's out for the year with an injury. So the two first rounders they have, they're out. Yeah.
Before I forget this question, is there an offshore place that has a pro? Who will make more visits to the blue tent, Tua or Jackson Dart?
Well, Tua may not start for very long, so I think Dart is the way to go. But
Dart may have a one-way visit to the blue tent in one of those early games.
That's true. A better prop would be visits to the blue tent per game. I think that would be a better one to see. I think Atlanta might be the worst team in the league. So I would be under 7.5 for sure. But they go all the way down to 3.5. 7.5 is minus 140 is under minus 140. Yeah, but under 6.5 is plus 130. Under 5.5 is plus 190. I have interest in both of these. I don't know if I go 4.5. 4.5 would be plus 370. That's a big jump. 370 for 4.5.
What's the highest number you would go under?
I think 5.5. I think I have them winning 4 games.
No. In other words, what's the highest number that you would play the under? In other words, you would not play under 5.5 or 6.5 or 7.
I would play under 5.5 and 6.5. I don't know if I'd play under 4.5. Although what's the
under 6? What's the under 6.5 plus
130?
Okay.
Like I said, I've been winning 4 games, so.
Yeah, I would just put this as a lean towards the under 7.5 minus 140. I'm almost certain I would not play it. The reason being that I look under is that they appear to be the weakest team in the division. And I think that Carolina, Tampa Bay, and New Orleans are probably better than they were last year. Meaning I think that any of them, instead of going 8-9, they can go 9-8 this year.
I agree with
Largely
that.
at the expense of Atlanta, okay. But again, Yeah, now, what are the win totals for the other three teams in the division?
Carolina is 7.5.
Okay,
We have New Orleans at 7.5 as well,
and
and
Tampa Bay.
Tampa's 8.5. I think. Yeah, 8.5.
So the odds makers are saying, and I haven't looked at the vigorish there, but the odds makers are saying this is a very even division once again. If the difference between the top team and the bottom team is one game.
Yep.
Yeah. So now you would think that you wouldn't have. Well, again, you had the. Well, you didn't have all four. Yeah, no, you did last year. Well, New Orleans was 6-10, 6-11, I think it was, but they were
Yeah.
coming on at the end of the year. If the season lasted another 3 weeks, if it was a 20-game schedule, they might have been 9-11. They were playing that well
Yeah.
at the end of the year.
Yep.
But so I'm just wondering if you're going under 6.5. Okay, you are banking probably on them going no better than 2-4, if that, in the division.
Yeah. I think that's
I
fair.
mean, I'm looking to see the other games that they could win, and the first one, boy, it's really getting tough here.
Well,
Uh,
we did this. We looked at the schedule. We
yeah,
both had them at 4 wins. I think.
yeah. I think the first winnable game. I mean, they could win something at Cleveland, and that's December 13th.
Wow. Well, that's the Stefanski revenge game. Of course, they're going to win that one.
Yeah. No, no. I do not see a game in which they would be. Here are their home games.
Okay.
Home to Carolina, home to Baltimore, home to Chicago, home to the 49ers. That's 3 straight games. Baltimore,
That's
Chicago,
rough.
49ers. Neutral site game against Cincinnati. Home to Kansas City. Bye week. Home to Detroit. Home to Tampa Bay. Home to New Orleans. Maybe what? Maybe New Orleans, or I don't know that they. I don't know. I don't think they would be favored over Carolina, Tampa Bay, or New Orleans at home.
I don't know.
I mean, now
I
you
think,
do. Now you do have Bijan Robinson. Okay.
yeah, you have London, Pitts, and Robinson. That's
Yeah,
it.
those are
That's it.
difference makers. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all you have though. It's like a fancy looking car with no motor.
Well, yeah, and you wonder though, where do you, on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you rank Penix?
Oh, 1 to 10, probably a 2. Well, I mean, who's a 1? Like Brosmer?
No, man. Where do you rank Tua?
Oh, he's -5.
Okay, you
He's,
rank
he's
him
not
that
even.
low.
He's not on any scale. He should be out of the league.
Okay, so you don't like Penix at all.
I mean, I look at more into no, if Brosmer's a 1, maybe he's like a 3. Maybe I'd say 3.5.
You have any other quarterbacks other than Tua at that level?
Yeah,
I'm talking
Brady
about
Cook.
potential starters. Well, that's the name I was going to bring up. I'm talking about potential starters.
Not the start of the season though. I think. Well, Deshaun Watson, I think is if Tua's a -5, Watson might be a -2.
I have a question for you.
Yeah,
We get a lot of different. Where do you rank Jameis Winston?
I love watching Winston. He's so fun.
I like
but
him a lot. I think he's good for the Giants if he has to come in.
Oh yeah, that's like the one thing where I like Malachi Fields as a sleeper in fantasy this year. He's the Giants' new number 2 receiver, and like I was asked like, well, what if Dart gets hurt? And I'm like, well, that could be a good thing because James Winston comes in. I like Winston. You can't ignore the interceptions though. That is a problem. So I think I think he's better than Penix. Now Penix has more upside. He's younger, but still, yeah.
And I don't know if you do the research or have the research.
Yeah.
But do you keep track on quarterbacks who throw interceptions where it's clearly the quarterback's fault versus, let's say, a tip pass or something that randomly gets deflected into a defender's arm, or a pass that the receiver is in position to catch and just doesn't catch it and it bounces off his hands? In other words, there are some interceptions that you logically or certainly reasonably can't blame the quarterback.
We used to have
how would that affect the interception ratio for some of these guys? Like
Yeah, we
James.
used to Kenny here used to keep track of should have been interceptions and should not have been interceptions.
Right.
But that was a while ago. So we don't have any current stats about that. Although should not have been interceptions. I think I set the record for teams bet on for that, and I wrote about that in the book.
Say that again now.
I set the record for should not have been interceptions on teams I bet because in my bad beats book,
Is that on teams you bet or quarterbacks you bet?
Well, same thing, right? It's it's like for example, that week 1 game with the Browns and Bengals. The Browns outgained them by 220 yards,
right.
But the one of the many reasons they lost is because they had 2 drop passes that popped into the air and went to interceptions.
Okay.
So
who was the starter in that game?
Flacco.
Okay, it was that early. Okay.
Yeah. So
because
became the quarterback of the Bengals.
I don't call interceptions misleading statistic, incomplete statistic.
Yeah. There's so much nuance to it. Like, what if like the interception occurred because the offensive line didn't block? This free rusher, the quarterback just like throws the ball and he gets hit and like it floats in the air. Like, there's so many things that can happen.
The question there would be, should the quarterback have taken a sack or thrown the ball away? He had to make a snap decision as opposed to say, I'm Brett Favre and I'll complete it to somebody.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you see that.
Not necessarily a teammate.
Yeah. Exactly.
The gunslinger.
Yeah. Okay, so you're only leaning under on Atlanta here. You're not.
Yeah. Only I just went through the schedule.
Yeah,
but I don't. You're talking about tying up money. I don't like laying under minus. I don't like laying minus 140, and then 6.5.
We both had 4 wins for this team.
Yeah, and but that's looking at things right now. We don't know how the season's going to unfold. We may have, I don't know, we'll have much different opinions, but, again, the lower the number, the extremes are the more difficult ones. Playing over 12.5, playing under 4.5, things like that.
Yeah.
Again, the margin, of a margin, or there's a greater margin of error, I guess, when you play under low numbers or over high numbers. If you play over 12.5 and you have a key injury that causes a quarterback to miss 2 or 3 starts, that makes it very difficult. On the other hand, if Atlanta's playing a team where their quarterback, where quarterbacks are missing a game and they do that 3-4 times during the season, those are likely losses that turn into potential wins, depending upon how the Atlanta offense performs.
Yeah, this under 4.5 plus 370s looks very tempting. I don't know if I'm gonna do it, but it looks like a fun small bet that you do, maybe like a $25 or something.
Yeah, well, and again, the reason again I bring it up is because, as I mentioned before a moment ago, the odds makers think, despite everything that you've said, that I've said, that everybody has said, this is a put a blanket over them. The difference is 1 win between the 3 teams at 7.5 and the 1 team at 8.5, and the 1 team at 8.5 is the team that's won the division. 4 of the last 5 or 5 of the last 6 years?
Yeah, and almost did it every year. Yeah, you can look at last year.
So basically, the odds maker is saying that this could be a division where no team in the division goes better than 4-2.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But then again, when we looked at the non-division schedule, as I went down these games, especially the home games where it's more likely you're going to win, couldn't really find any.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a really tough schedule. It's crazy. They had 2 first-round picks in the 2025 NFL draft, and neither of them is going to play because of injury and suspension. So.
And by the way, one of the things I also said, and you probably have some numbers that can support this if you believe so. NFL used to be a league of parity.
Mm-hmm.
I think the last few years there's not been parity. You don't have as many teams finishing under the old 16-game schedule, 7-9, 8-8, 9-7. So now it's 8-9, 9-8, 7-10, 10-7. You don't have as many as you do at the extremes at both sides. More teams with 6 wins or less, or teams with 11 wins or more.
There's definitely haves and have-nots in the NFL these days. It's changed. It's definitely changed, And we've talked theories about why that is the
Yeah.
case. But anyway, let's keep moving.
And
Yeah,
I
yeah, go
don't
ahead.
ever recall that many of those have-nots are in the same division.
I know. We had that one
They
year
are
with the
not.
NFC West. Remember
Yeah.
the
Oh yeah.
Seahawks got in, and that was the earthquake game from Marshawn
Yeah.
Lynch.
This
Um,
is this. I mean, you're basically saying, and it was true last year. No team in the based upon these season win totals, no team in the NFC South is projected to win 10 games.
yep. Who knows? Maybe the trend will be Buck this year. Maybe one of these teams will be good. We'll see.
And maybe it'll be exactly that. It'll be the Bucks.
Yeah, could be. Yeah, we'll get to them in a second. We have the Panthers now. Their win total is 7.5. I have them at 8 wins, so I'm right on the number. I don't like either side. Are you betting either side here?
Let me take a look again at their schedule. I don't think I'm going to be betting it, but I haven't decided yet if I like the over or under. I do like a lot of the roster. I think Young has made. Although I heard today he's not getting an extension, but the team seems to be backing him. So this is basically a prove it year.
Yeah,
And I think
should
there's
be.
talent on this team. I like the defense, and again, I always criticize people for looking like one or two examples. So I'm going to do that now. I'm going to criticize myself, but I'm not really criticizing myself. I'm using it to say that the two games they played against arguably the best team in the league, the Rams,
Hmm.
showed that this is a competitive football team, that they have the ability to stand toe to toe with the team that many think, despite the fact that they didn't, should have been a Super Bowl team last year.
Hmm.
And they
Yeah,
split the regular season game, and
yeah.
they won that. They came back in that playoff game. So um, there's something there. I do like the coach. It's his Canales' third year now.
Hmm.
Team has gone improved from. I mean, when he took over, the team was 7-10 when they made the coaching change. Who was the coach that they got rid of after the 22 season?
Oh,
Um,
geez, who
Matt
was it?
Rule. Matt Rule,
Right. Yeah.
who will soon be the ex-Nebraska coach if he doesn't have a good season. But they were 7-12 that year. Then they Canal's first year. What's that? Or was
Seven
it?
and 12.
Or maybe it was the. No, Frank Reich was the coach the one year in 2023 when they went 2-15.
Yeah.
So Canales comes
Right.
in, they go 5-12, and then 8-9.
Yeah.
So he's making progress, and they've got. What was the year? When did they trade McCaffrey? What season was that? 22, 21?
I think it was 22. I want to say.
Okay. Yeah, I can never understand that trade. Or what
Yeah.
they got back. But in any event, I look at Carolina's schedule. Uh, can they be 8-9? What do you say? What's the price on the 8-9? On the over 7.5?
Over 7.5 is plus 115.
I might take a look at that.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about it. I worry about
Well,
their blocking. Their blocking has been very poor in the preseason. They played their starters twice, but that could eventually be fixed. But they
yeah.
did lose their left tackle, and the right tackle is a rookie. Or their other tackles. Sorry, their other tackle's a rookie. So I don't know. We'll see. This team has some potential. I do think their
Yeah.
defense will be better for sure. I don't. I'm not a believer in Bryce Young, but at least he's shown a little bit this past year. All right,
Where does he rate in quarterbacks in that division? Obviously, it can't be worse than number 3.
right.
So
Yeah,
you're
he's
going
yeah. You
Shook
go
and
Mayfield's Chuck. Mayfield's Chuck.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Mayfield, and how do you rate the difference? Although there's not a lot to go on with Shook, how do you rate him compared to Bryce Young as far as gap between the two of them?
I mean, it's a small sample size. Like Chuck could easily regress, but based on what we saw last year, I just saw way more potential with him. I think
Well,
I think
I
there could
like
be
the coaching
substantial
that he
difference.
gets.
Yeah,
I like
yeah,
the coaching that he gets, but I also realize that now opposing teams will be game planning for him like they really didn't have much of a chance during the year. And
yeah.
remember during the off season, I believe a lot of the coaches actually take a look, at least a cursory look, at who the opponents are and what type of schemes they run and the experience, etc.
Mhm.
They obviously don't prepare in depth until a week or two before they play them, but I'm sure that they have some idea going in with all the work that the assistants can do. So, um, yeah, so I would probably make a small play on the over 7.5 on Carolina.
Okay. I'm probably not going to touch it, but
And,
yeah,
and
I can
again, a lot
understand.
of it has to do with the fact that we've seen the new head coach who came over with where was he, with Seattle before, or Jacksonville,
The
or
new,
Tampa Bay, I think.
Yeah, it
Canales.
was Tampa's offense coordinator. Yeah.
Okay, and he's come in and he's made improvement each of his 2 years, improved by um, where did I have it there?
While you look that up, Harambe Slayer with the $1 super chat. Thank you so much, Harambe Slayer. Really appreciate it. And thank you for teaching us about the negative correlation with the parlays that we had today. Unfortunately, the Angels going to get there. That we had the plus 355 on the Angels, and then they lost, but at least we got the hedge, and this $1 will help us offset that. Yeah, had to put one. Thank you, thanks, Harambe. Really appreciate it. And we had a comment from Drew saying, Andy, I think a counter argument for Shuck is that the Saints have the second easiest schedule this year. Yeah, so teams
Yeah.
can game plan for Shuck all they want, but it's not going to work because they have bad
Yeah.
defenses. So
Well, again, it just depends on how much we may get a good idea of New Orleans in that first game against Detroit. Won't mean
yeah,
anything; it's one game, but
yeah,
we'll at least see. If Detroit is able to shut down, that might be a concern.
shut
Given it's
Chuck
at
down
Detroit.
is
Shut down,
sounds
yeah.
that's funny.
Shut down.
Yes, yes.
But no, what Canales did is he improved the team from 2 wins to 5 wins to 8 wins.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't have to show any improvement this year to go over 7.5.
Yep, that's true. All right, the Saints are also 7.5. The Vig though is minus 120, so the books think this team's going to be a little bit better than the Panthers. I have the Saints winning 9 games, so I have a little interest in this number. Over 8.5 is plus 150. It's not like that much of a difference. I don't know if I'm going to play it. I do have a little interest though in the over. What do you think about this one?
Okay, so right now it's a lean, or
It's a
a
lean,
lean
yeah,
meaning you
lean,
may or may not play it.
yeah. I'm not sure if I will. Maybe. Drew says if Shuck balls out against the Lions, he's going to tell everyone to shuck the frick up.
Well done.
Yes.
I like the Saints, but I don't like to make like 15 over under plays for season wins. I like to spread them out sometime. Maybe it's 10 teams and a few of them I go over 2 numbers. As much as I would like to play the over 7.5 with the Saints, I'm not sure that I can do it at a minus price.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm looking at the 8.5, perhaps. It's plus 150. I don't know. Like I said, it's a lean. So yeah,
let me put it this way. I would much rather play over 7.5 with Carolina plus 115 than over 7.5 minus 120 with the Saints.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I'd rather go Saints, even though the Vig is worse. I believe in the more. I like I think Kellen Moore was great last year. I'll be very small sample size.
Yeah, again, it is my second year theory that
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really arguing against, but I'm not arguing with a great deal of conviction on the over.
Yeah. Real quick, Harambe Slayer says, sorry, make a larger donation. Another night when I'm more involved, can ask more questions. Always appreciate the info. Got to hit the hay. Crunch time at work next week. So, yeah, thank you, Harambe. No, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And, good luck with your crunch time at work. Hope everything goes well there. And Drew says, honestly, Walter, do you still want me to start Shuck over Goff now that Tyson's out? That's a difference. Yeah, I think I would go Goff now instead with Tyson being out. That really hurts because I was really counting on Jordan Tyson being there. It really sucks.
Did the line for week 1 make any movement on that? Was there a half-point movement or anything like that? Kind of hard to do with a rookie.
Yeah, with the second, set number 2 receiver rookie. Yeah. I don't know. Let's see. They where would this be? It's still 7. It's still sitting at 7.
So it may not move.
Yeah, we'll see. Okay. So we have Tampa to finish the NFC South.
Right. They're the one at
Tampa,
8.5.
yeah, 8.5 plus 115. I think this team bounces back a little bit. They had a lot of injuries last year. Mayfield had the shoulder. Emeka Buka had the a hamstring, and Evan is here. He's popped in. Evan asked if you should come on. We're about to do the NFC West win totals, so that's your
Oh,
division,
perfect
Evan.
timing.
Yeah, so
Andy,
we just
I'm in your hometown, Andy. I
we
don't.
just have to
Yes.
we have to get through Tampa, and then we're going to go to the NFC
Are
West.
you, are you at the Are you at the win?
I'm at the win. Yes, I'm at the win.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Look,
until they kick me out of the sports book here, this is where I'm
Oh,
sitting.
nice. Yeah. Goff's projection more points. So Andy, where do you fall in Tampa? I'm not going to play this one. I don't think there's any value in the 8.5. I think that they're probably winning 8 or 9 games.
yeah.
So I'm kind of right on the number. So I don't see anything.
I'm likely going to play the over 8.5 at the plus 115. I think that with the experience they have, now we don't know. We have to believe that. I guess if the reports are correct, Mayfield will be, not playing. He will not have a new contract before the end of the season. So,
Right.
Unless
Yeah.
things change. And you know what? If the ownership is smart, they work something out the week before the start of the season, because that'll energize Mayfield and it'll energize the rest of the team.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Okay.
so too. So
Which is very good if you're opening on the road with Detroit and then you come back for 3 straight home games.
yeah.
Tampa Bay could get off to a nice start. I mean,
Yeah.
they open at
That's Cincy.
Cincinnati. I was thinking New Orleans, not Detroit. At Cincinnati, host Cleveland, Minnesota, Green Bay.
That could be 3-1.
Yeah.
And we know how bad the Bengals are in Week 1. So maybe it could be 4-0.
No, I like this Tampa Bay team. Every time I look at them, I like them a little bit more. Say what you will about the coach. He's got them to the playoffs for a number of years. Last year, of course, being the exception.
Mhm.
And of course, we found out that how badly injured was Mayfield over the last part of the season last year.
He had
Was it a
multiple
leg or
injuries.
something?
Yeah. Well, no, he had we knew about the shoulder, but
Right.
he also had a knee injury too. So
okay,
like
that's
it
what
was
it was,
double
yeah.
double whammy. And Emeka Buka, he hurt his hamstring halfway through the season, and then he got hurt. And that was one other chapter near the bad beat, because I had Emeka Buka offensive rookie of the year, and that fell apart because Ibuka got hurt and Mayfield got hurt. So
So yes, I don't think I would go over 9.5, but 8.5 at a positive return. That's fine.
yeah. Okay. All right. We're about
You-
to go to the NFC West.
How
We
about,
do
how,
that.
about, how about you on the Tampa Bay? Pass
No, I don't really see anything here. Like, I think they're pretty close to the number. I think they probably win 8 or 9 games. So 8.5 is, there's just no value there.
Exactly what I had. Exactly what I had. 8 to 9 wins on Tampa.
Yeah, we're in lockstep there. So here we go. NFC West, Evan's division, with being him being a Niner fan. So we're going alphabetical order here. The Arizona Cardinals. The number is 3.5.
Is that the median number now?
Yes, it would be 4 if they had whole numbers. It would be a 4. But that is the median number for Arizona. I have Arizona winning 2 games, so as tempting as it sounds, like to go under 3.5, I'm gonna have to pass on that. it's like not high enough, for me.
Now let me take a look at their schedule and see when their first winnable.
Well,
game
Andy,
comes up.
we quickly. One of the things that I was talking to Andy about this morning
Yeah.
was one of the things that I like to do when you're playing DraftKings and FanDuel is you can play some of these alternate win totals on
Yeah.
parlays, right? So you can go, if you don't like Arizona and 3.5 is not really worth a wager, and you don't want to pay the VIG to move that to 4.5 or 5.5, you can use the Arizona 5.5 under or even 6.5 under in part of a package with some other teams. So
It's like
if you like a
it's like
couple of
parlaying
teams-
a big favorite. It's like parlaying
Right.
5 big favorites who are 7 points or more on a regular week of the NFL.
Right. So I know you've probably hit this team already. Andy and I talked today about Green Bay under. You can buy some wins on Green Bay and go under Miami. Some of those teams that you don't like, just use Arizona in that mix. And one of the things that we talked about today, Andy, was Arizona might be a little better on paper.
Yeah.
Maybe not. But look at that schedule. I don't have the schedule in front of me.
I was just going to point
Yeah,
out.
When are
do you
they
want- do you
getting
want-
their first?
Yeah, do you
When
want
are
to
they
read
getting their
off the
first win?
Do you want to read off the schedule?
I was
Andy?
going to say, you know, they got to find a win here to have their two winnable games towards the end of the season have any possibility of deciding that wager. Here's their schedule: at the Chargers, home to Seattle; at the 49ers, at the Giants, home to Detroit; at the Rams, home to Denver; at Dallas, at Seattle, home to the Rams; at Kansas City, home to Washington; home to Philadelphia. Oh, and by the way, after all those games, they finally get a bye week. They come back, one of the two winnable games, home to the Jets. Although the Jets may be improved, but still, it's the Jets.
Yeah.
At New Orleans, home to Vegas, another possible winnable game, and then home to San Francisco.
Yeah.
So
Let's put it this way.
realistically,
How many
Dallas
and
again,
how many
as usual.
games? How many games will the line be less than 6?
the Jets and the Raiders, home games.
Yeah.
So they're basically a touchdown or greater underdog almost every week.
Well, look at how many potential playoff teams they faced. Chargers, Seattle, San Francisco. I'm not going to put the Giants in there. Detroit, Rams, Denver, Dallas, Seattle, Rams, Kansas City, Washington. I won't put them in there. Philadelphia, not the Jets. New Orleans.
It's the hardest schedule.
Potentially.
It's the hardest schedule in the league.
Yeah, number one.
Vegas,
number one in the sluice.
It's the most difficult schedule in the league. And we know teams will take them lightly. Situationally, teams will take them lightly. Their defense isn't very good. Listen, that's not a team with a lot of wins on the schedule, but I understand not wanting to play under 3.5. But that is absolutely a team. If there's a couple of teams that you like on the underside, package 4.5 under or 5.5 under with 2 or 3 other teams, and use that in a situation where you're going to buy under. You're going to buy some wins. If you don't like Green Bay under 10.5, play Green Bay under 11.5. I also like Carolina under. I know you just went through the Carolina division. So if you don't like Carolina under 8.5, make it 9.5.
What
right
would
now,
you
you're
do
instead of
what would you do Miami? 6.5?
yeah, exactly.
Or
I
even
would play
7.5. Yeah.
instead of playing Miami straight under 5.5 wins, play Miami 6.5 and Arizona 6.5.
Yeah.
And play both of those teams as a parlay. And then play Arizona, Miami, and Carolina. Then play Arizona, Miami, and maybe Cleveland. Arizona, Miami, Green Bay.
Do you hate Tennessee as much as I do? Because I would put Tennessee in there too.
I don't hate Tennessee because I look very much into coaching changes. We talked about this last year and we talked about this the year before.
Yep.
I thought Fangio 2 years ago was the difference of the offseason. That proved to be correct. I thought the Niner defense last year was going to be significantly improved because of Saleh. They were, despite the injuries. And I think Saleh now will take a no-name defense and make them a little bit better. And I also think Dayball will make the offense a little bit better. Yep. And we talked about Cam Ward last year being somebody who was going to get sacked the most in the entire league. We were right on that mark. He'll be a little bit better as well. I do think that they've upgraded the weapons around him. They're still not a 9-win team. I don't think they're a team that's going to make a leap to being a postseason contender. But I think they'll be a better team. But again, you look at the schedule, and they're probably not winning more than 6 or 7 games. So do I want to bet they're under? Not really. But if you give me 8.5 and package them with Carolina, Miami, Arizona, and Green Bay, I love it. So I'll take 3-game parlay, a 4-game parlay, a 6-game parlay. It sounds square, but I'm telling you, you're making money. You're buying 1 or 2 wins. It's huge. And you can use it as equity down the road because at the end of the day, if you're 1 or 2 games teams short of guaranteeing your win, you can start betting on Arizona in week 15 against the Jets or whenever they play the Jets. I don't have the schedule, but if they're playing the Jets and they're a 3-point dog, you know what? And you need Arizona to lose another game or 2, take Arizona plus 3, plus 3.5. Maybe they lose a close game. And at the end of the day, you're using this as equity. I did this last year on the no playoffs. And I had a murderous amount of money on Carolina not making the playoffs. And once the Colts didn't make it, once they clinched not making the playoffs, the only team I needed in multiple bets through FanDuel was Carolina to the tune of about $10,000. My risk was not that much. It wasn't a crazy risk. I had pretty good odds, but I started pounding nose on Tampa Bay starting in week 16. When Tampa played Carolina, I'm all over Carolina, hoping I would lose. But once I was able to start hedging my equity in the futures markets, I ended up winning half of my bet anyway from the futures bet to begin with. So don't let it ride naked. So if you end up with unders with Arizona 6.5 wins and they have 4 wins going into week 15, your under 6.5 is probably still good. But hey, might as well play them +3 if you like them a little bit against the Jets
Yeah.
in that contest. So
Yeah.
just a great way to attack futures. And again, only with unders. I have no desire. It's very rare you're going to find me playing over season-long yards and over season-long wins.
This parlay under 5.5 wins for the Cardinals, under 6.5 wins for the Dolphins, under 8.5 wins for the Titans, and under 12.5 wins for the Packers, +140.
Beautiful. That's a
Reasonable.
great bet. Who's
Yeah.
losing in that bet?
I don't know. I
You don't
really
know?
don't know. Yeah, I don't think so. I
Go,
don't
go
think
back
anyone.
on those teams again.
That's worthy of a $500 play, maybe a $1,000 play.
Yeah,
That's a great
Cardinals under 5.5 wins.
Right.
Dolphins under 6.5 wins. Titans under 8.5 wins, and Packers under 12.5 wins.
I can't see
What a-
one that doesn't come through for you.
Yeah, I don't see that. That's a great suggestion, Evan.
Now you've got
And
like at
you
least
can mix
a 2 to 3 game.
you can mix and match these. Mix and match. Throw in a bet with the Falcons under. Right. I don't think the Falcons are any good.
Yeah.
Throw in a bet with the Falcons under. Take out the Falcons and throw in Carolina on the under. You know, maybe
How about-
buy
how
another
about
game on
Cleveland?
Arizona.
How about Cleveland?
Yeah, you can put Cleveland in there for
The
sure.
best to me, and I don't know if this is out there, Andy. You could tell me if you've seen this, and I haven't looked for it yet. I plan to look for it this weekend. Deshaun Watson passing yards under the total. What is Deshaun Watson's under? Because he's not going to be playing by week
Yeah.
6.
I don't know if I don't even know if they have that. I'd be kind of surprised. Let me see. Evan, you missed my confusion with FanDuel. They didn't have any futures listed on their NFL, but you have to go to football, which is on their darts, to get the futures. So I was like, where are these things? I don't know if they have Watson. They don't have Watson here, unfortunately, on FanDuel.
Because they're too smart.
Yes.
Should I go
No.
ask the guys behind the counter here at the Win
At-
Sportsbook? Should I go ask the guys behind the counter see if they want to give me the Deshaun Watson number? I'll take whatever they want to give me.
Or Tua, as well. That would be great because he's not playing.
This
too
is
many
what we
games.
did last year with Russell Wilson, by the way. We pounded the Russell Wilson unders, figuring, how are the Giants starting this guy? He's not going to be playing by
Right.
week 5. And what was he out by week 3?
Yeah, we like in the middle of week 3 he got benched in that Sunday night game against the Chiefs. Yeah.
And by the way, if you remember, Russell Wilson, the week before, he hit my 450 any QB to throw for 450.
Yeah,
He threw
against
for
Giants.
exactly 450, but with
Yeah.
the overtime. And then they took that bet off the board.
I know that was so
They
sad.
were offering us plus 1,600.
That was so upsetting that they did that. Hopefully they bring it back, but I don't think they will.
I don't think they will.
No. All right, so we're not playing Cardinals by themselves.
Right.
We're putting
Right.
that in a parlay here.
Right.
Okay. All right. Sorry. We have three teams left here. The next team, a lot of people consider the best
Walt,
team.
you
in the
didn't,
NFL.
you didn't mention the Cardinals made the front cover of your new book.
I know.
Oh.
How could they? How could they not? Mario DiMarcado. That was the. I think it was. I think 10% of my words were on that game. It's 53,000 words, and like 5,300 words were on that game.
I've been looking
you
at the
didn't-
book on the Kindle today,
Yeah.
but I didn't get to that chapter yet.
Okay.
But you should have had DiMarcado being slapped by the coach as the front cover. That would have been hilarious.
Oh,
That
was that
would
the
be-
one?
yeah.
That was the one with the drop the ball going in the end zone.
Yeah, a week
One.
after Adonai Mitchell did the same
Yeah,
thing.
right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I guess you would have had to pay a huge price for you to be able to use that picture of him dropping the ball for the cover of your book.
Yeah, I had to change something. I had to take out the logos. I had to change some colors.
Yeah.
But it's I don't think I can get sued for that. Anyway, the team.
You could have done a little X and O diagram like a coach puts up there, and you see the balls, the dots out of bounds on the 3-yard line
I know.
with no defender around them.
I still can't believe all the things that happened in that game. Like people will just remember that play. There's so many other things that happened in the game. That was the game where Murray got hurt, and because he dived for the ball that hit him in the helmet, and he couldn't move around in the pocket, so the Cardinals couldn't score any more points after that. Like so many weird things happened in that game. But anyway, we have Rams having the highest win total, 11.5. They're tied with the Ravens, but they have the higher vig here. So I have the Rams.
What's the vig
What-
on the over?
It is minus 125 over 11.5. The 12.5 is plus 154. So that might be worth looking at. I have the Rams at 15 wins this year. So I couldn't decide between 14 and 15, but I do think that they eclipsed 12.5. So I would consider betting over 12.5 plus 154.
Yeah,
so
the only and once again, as I mentioned earlier, with these extremes, the injuries. If Goff misses 2 games, that could depending on who they're against. I mean,
Well,
they don't.
Stafford.
Stafford.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
Stafford. Yeah.
I still go back to the old trade. Yeah.
Well, they have the great Ty
Only
Simpson
been
now,
like
though.
6, 7 years. Yeah. I mean, you look at the schedule. It's not an easy schedule to start the season for the first. Well, the Australia game, then the home game to the Giants, at Denver, at Philly, home to Buffalo. Then they get the breather at home against Arizona and at Vegas. Then the Chargers. Then the reasonable games that they should win at Washington and Arizona. Then they finally get a bye. Host Green Bay, host Kansas City, at San Francisco, host Dallas, at Seattle, at Tampa Bay, hosting Seattle. They could be like 9-2 and then have a real tough stretch in those last 4 or 5 games against 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 potential playoff teams. In fact, I'll throw Green Bay in there as a potential playoff team, even though it's unlikely. But even if we throw them out, Kansas City, San Francisco, Dallas, Seattle, Tampa Bay, Seattle, their last 6 games.
It's not easy.
Once again, your problem with overs is if Stafford gets hurt, you're dead in the water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, what's his face? Dan Orlovsky will disagree because Simpson will come in and win a lot of games, according to him.
Homer Simpson.
He's looked good in the preseason, but yeah, that's true. It is a high number, but that defense is gonna be unreal with Garrett and Aaron Donald potentially coming back, and they stole the 2 corners from the Chiefs. And plus that offense is so explosive too. It's they are the best team.
It's the best team. It's the best team in the league. It's the best team on paper. It's a rough schedule. There's a lot of games that are going to be tough for them. But at the end of the day, you're betting it over at 12.5. It's just a huge number to fight with.
Yeah.
So there's very, very little room for error. If they lose game 1, which they could lose, obviously they're a 3.5-point favorite. And now you don't know how they're going to respond traveling back from Australia. And, all of a sudden you could be in a 1-2 hole early on, not expecting that start, and some adversity facing them. And then, of course, like I said, if Stafford is hurt.
1 and 2, they could.
What'd you say?
Yeah, they could start 1-1 at San Francisco and home to the Giants on the Monday night game. Then they have back-to-back games against Denver, at Philadelphia, and then they host the Bills.
Tough stretch.
Games are gimmies.
You can easily be looking at a 2-3 schedule. To me, the Rams, I don't want to say better to play them as the season gets rolling. But again, when you're talking about that many wins, there's just not a lot of room for error. When I'm playing unders and I get an injury, I'm sitting pretty. When you're playing with some of these 12.5, and we've seen this over the years with the Chiefs, with the Bills, with the Ravens, it's very hard to get to that 14-win total. I hear you, Walt.
Yeah.
It's by far the best team. They might be a good 1.5, 2 points better than number 2, and I don't know who number 2 is, but they might be that good. But at the end of the day, it's still the NFL.
Yeah, I think I mentioned back, Walt, it was maybe the week after the schedule came out when I had a chance to look at it, that I said that, maybe what you want to hope happens if you like the Rams, and I like the Rams, I think I got them at 7-1 before they did that trade for Garrett. But if you want to make a play on the Rams, maybe you hope that both Seattle and San Francisco get off to strong starts and that all of a sudden the Rams, let's say they do go. Look, theoretically, those first 6 games, San Francisco, Giants, Denver, Philadelphia, Buffalo, Arizona, they could be 3-3.
Yeah.
And
you guys know how I feel about Denver.
It's a great point. Last year in the NFC West, you could have had any one of Niners, Seahawks, Rams at 5-1 after halfway through the season. Yep. Every one of those teams were like plus 400 or better at some point in the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at that point, it looked like all 3 of them would make the playoffs.
Yeah, there is no NFC South. The 4 games bailing them out this year. They all those teams had the NFC South last year. Now they don't. They have tougher schedules now. So
Well, the Rams lost one of those games to the NFC South. Did that make
Yeah,
your bad beats?
Carolina. Yeah.
I don't know.
It did. It did. Because there's a monsoon. I rewatched that game. There was a monsoon in the second half, and the Rams had to throw to come back. And it's like could that have come at a worse time? And then there was also like a tipped pass interception, like
It was a
other
tip pass
nonsense
interception in
happened.
the first half.
They
And
fumble at the end.
Stafford took a strip sack on a
Yep.
potentially game tying drive
Yep.
late
Yep.
in the game. I couldn't believe they lost that game.
I know, and they almost lost it to them again later in the playoffs.
Right?
But
Yeah, the
yeah,
playoff game wasn't a gimme in the first half either.
no. That the playoff game did not make my bad beat book. I did mention it leading up to the Super Bowl, but the first game was I consider a bad beat. Not like one of the stronger ones. I even called it like probably like the most flimsiest bad beat, but I still included it. Okay, so we're not like crazy about this Rams. I would go over more than under, but I don't know if I'm going to play it. That's how I feel.
I've got
about
a lean on the over 11.5, which means it's probably not a play. Again, minus 125.
it. Mhm.
You got again. I mean, is there going to be a team in the West that's going to lose to anyone other than Arizona? All these teams could be 4-2. These top three teams.
Yep.
They'll certainly be
All right.
favored to, barring.
Yeah.
Is there a number for Arizona division record?
What do you mean division? Like last place in the division?
No, not the last place in the division. Some books have
Division wins.
over under
Division
wins in the
wins.
division.
Division wins. I haven't seen any division wins out there.
I would have to think at best, at highest, it's 1.5, and I wouldn't be surprised if books that have it up there have it at a half a win.
Yeah, they
I was
could
gonna
get their
say,
win in week
if it's
18.
1.5,
Garbage game.
Yeah.
I would like that under at 1.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, right. Week 18, you never know, but outside of that, I don't see them winning these games.
Week 18, Arizona hosts San Francisco. Could
Yeah.
be a game for first place in the division.
Yeah, or the game may not mean anything to the Niners, so that they may sit their starters. So you never know.
Right.
All right. Well, speaking of the Niners, they're our next team. Evans 49ers. Looks the over is 9.5 minus 146. So this is a natural 10. But they don't have whole numbers.
What's that number?
So
9.5.
9.5 minus 146, and the 10.5 is plus 125. So if they still had whole numbers, it would be a 10. I have the Niners projected at 13 wins this year.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, they have a lot of. Last year they won 12 games, and half the team was out. Fred Warner missed half the season. Nick Bosa played 2 games.
They also had one of the easiest schedules you've ever seen last year.
They did, yeah. But they have a third place schedule this year. It's not that tough. What do you guys think about the Niners here? It sounds
I
like
like the Niners, as I indicated. I have them in a couple of those exactas that I did after I saw Evan today. That I decided after I had my fruit cup, I went back and made a few exacta plays involving the 49ers. Shanahan did a great job last year. I kept thinking that at games at their stadium, instead of playing the national anthem, they should play the theme from MASH, because they had it affected both sides of the ball with key players, and they still managed to win those 12 games last year. I'm sorry, it was 13 games last year. Yeah,
it's 12. I think it's 12, isn't it?
It's 12.
It's
Yeah,
12.
they went one. That's right, because that's right, because they won Philadelphia and then they lost the next game. Yeah, so it was 13, or 12 rather. The fact that they could go 12-5, and keep in mind this is a team, and I'm using the Mark Lawrence book, who shows his records, including postseason. But this is what the 49ers did: 2022, 15-5. I think that's the year they lost the overtime to Kansas City. Next, 14-6. Then the year when they really had all those injuries, 2024, they dropped to 6-11. And they came back last year, and I think Shanahan did one of the best coaching jobs to get that team to go 12-5.
Yeah.
So even with an average number of injuries this year, I could see them being 12-5. So
Yeah,
I like the over. I like the over 10.5.
Well, the injuries is the key. The injuries is absolutely the key. And also, I mentioned Robert Saleh before with Tennessee.
Yeah.
Saleh leaving is big. Raheem Morris not solid as a defensive coordinator. Saleh's been fantastic as a defensive coordinator, and he was even fantastic on the defensive side with the Jets. When he was with the Jets, their defense was great. When he left, the defense fell off a cliff. So I do worry about the defensive side of the ball with Saleh not being there and Raheem Morris taking over. Bosa has been in and out of practice. or I should say, out of practice the last couple of weeks. So who knows how he's supposed to respond coming back from an ACL injury, the second ACL injury that he's suffered on that leg. And Fred Warner is back. He, to me, is the best. If not, he's not the best. He's the top 5 defensive player in the league. The secondary, to me, is still a little bit of a question mark. And of course, Raheem Morris, to me, is a big question mark coming out of the solid tree. So I worry about the defense a little bit. Offensively, it comes down to Trent Williams. They don't really have a lot of weapons. The weapons are aging. McCaffrey is aging. Kittle is now back from an Achilles tear. So who knows how he's going to respond. Trent Williams is another year older. He's still one of the best left tackles in the league. But can he hold up? Everybody used to talk about, when Debo played, the Niners were this. When McCaffrey played, it was always about Trent Williams. When Trent Williams was out, the offense doesn't work. When Trent Williams played, the offense was just fine. It could have been Purdy. It could have been somebody else at quarterback. They could have had backup running backs in the game. Tight ends, obviously, Kittle matters a lot, but it was all about Trent. And Trent is what, 37, 38? He's somewhere in that upper 30s age. So I would not be betting the over because with the injuries that they suffered and have suffered for the last few years, the job last year Shanahan did getting the team prepared was masterful. But I do worry about a slightly harder schedule. Even if it's still a third-place schedule, it's still a slightly harder schedule. Like you said, it's not the NFC South this year.
Yep.
Let me ask Walt. What did you say? It was plus 125 on the over 10.5.
Yes.
So I just need them to go 11-6.
Right.
Let's say the worst-case scenario, they get swept by the Rams and the Seahawks. Okay, so they're 2-4, and they now have 13 other games. And they can still afford 2 losses and still be 11-6.
They play at Kansas City.
Yeah.
Don't forget, that's a third-place game playing that division, but that's not an easy game.
No, their schedule is definitely tough over the second half of the season. Here's their opening: the game against the Rams, host Miami, host Arizona, get Denver at home. Then there's one of their potential losses at Seattle. Home to Washington, at Atlanta. They theoretically 7 games before their bye. I would think 5-2 is a reasonable win. I
would sign up for 5-2 right now because I'm worried about at Seattle and Australia game. And now again, how do they respond coming back from Australia? That's not an easy spot to be in. When you're coming back, who knows how the team is going to respond? The age of the players are coming back in that situation. Once again, there's not a lot of receivers on that team with real. Mike Evans is probably going to be hurt by week 2, right? You have a rookie who's played nicely in the preseason. He's already hurt. The rookie Stribling is playing very nicely, but again, this is preseason. Yeah. McCaffrey claims he's healthy, so I'll take his word for that. Kittle coming back from the Achilles, how effective will he be? Now coming back again, playing a game in Australia. I worry. It's great that we're playing Arizona, Miami in the first couple of weeks of the season. That's fantastic. Home against Denver makes life easier. Traveling to Atlanta, I have no concerns.
By the way,
very good traveling east.
When we talk about all these players who are injured for specific teams, we never talk about the players who the opponents have who are injured and also might be a factor in that game if their presence is not known. We have to consider that sometimes. Yes. It's hard to do when you go on a game-by-game basis because we're thinking about the team we're looking to either back or fade, but they're also playing teams that have similar question marks that we don't really talk about because we're not focusing on them. But
Andy, you said 5-2. I would, if the over/under was 4.5, I would be more comfortable playing under 4.5 than over 4.5.
Okay, I'm going to say 5-2. And I'll say 6-2 because they host Vegas coming out of the break. But then the schedule gets tough. Back-to-back games at Dallas, neutral site Minnesota, home to Seattle, at the Giants, home to the Rams, at the Chargers, at Kansas City, home to Philadelphia, at Arizona.
Tough stretch.
I still think they can get to 11 wins. Because again, my scenario here said the worst possible case is they get swept by Seattle and the Rams. Yeah. So there are 4 losses there.
I want to check to see what I wrote down for the Niners wins.
Mm-hmm.
I think I had them at 11 or 12 when we did it.
Yeah, I would still take the over. It's not like one of my top plays.
My first look was 11, and then I wrote 10 to 11. So I don't disagree with your over, Andy, but I don't think I'd be betting it.
Well, the reason again I like it is the plus price. the job that Shanahan did last year, and you have to. And again, there's no way of knowing injuries, and it's not necessarily true that a heavily injured team one year bounces back the next year and vice versa. But I would have to like to think that if San Francisco just suffers the average number of injuries, they can beat a lot of those playoff caliber teams because they're a playoff caliber team themselves.
Yeah, I totally agree with
The
that.
key is Trent Williams.
Yeah.
He's got to stay healthy.
Yeah.
And yes,
yeah.
the extra year is a concern. But every team has not necessarily the same degree or at the same position, but every team has their Trent Williams, guys who are towards the end of their career and are one injury away from missing 3 games.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so yeah, it looks like we all like the over, but we're not necessarily going to bet it. Andy, are you betting it? Andy, you're betting it?
I'm almost sure that I will.
You will.
I haven't.
I do like the exactas. As Andy said, he has the Niners and some exactas. I do as well. I
think they have the Bengals, Chargers, and Texans.
I also have Bengals and Chargers. I also have the Bills instead of the Texans right now.
I have the Niners 100-1 to win the Super Bowl.
When did you get that? 2017.
Andy, I told you when I got that. I showed you before earlier.
Right, yeah.
I took a Knicks Niners.
That's right.
Championship.
I forgot about that. That's right. That's how you have it. Yeah.
Nice.
100-1.
Yeah.
I told you I put $100. It pays $10,000, and FanDuel has offered me $231 to cash out.
That's an insult.
And you told me to start considering it at $2,300.
And that's a conservative number because you're already halfway there.
And I wouldn't cash that out right now for less than $4,000.
That's crazy. I can't believe they're only offering that. That's crazy.
$231.
They spit in the face.
Yeah. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give everybody who listens to the Walter Football After Dark show the ways to kill FanDuel by betting ladders on quarterback prepositions in the middle of the game.
There you go.
Yes.
So FanDuel, offer me $5,000 and I'll keep my mouth shut.
We will be we'll be doing those plays on Discord this year.
What did you get the Knicks at?
I don't even remember.
Oh, because I mean, maybe if they just paid you on what the Knicks would have paid without the second half of the parlay.
Well, I can tell you the Niners at the time were probably in the 15-1 to 17-1 ballpark.
Right. When did you bet it?
The Knicks were it was probably after the Knicks beat the Hawks. It's probably either before that.
That was the opening series that they won.
It was right. It was it was not before the playoffs. It was probably like either a couple of games in or right after they beat the Hawks. I believe the Knicks at the time were, I think, 5-1.
Okay. Yeah.
Somewhere in that ballpark. So I parlayed a 18-1 with a 5-1.
Yeah.
And ended up with 100-1.
And meanwhile, my Spurs 70-1 bet was a loser. that I bet the previous August. I did live bet the Knicks in games 4 and 5 though when they were way back, and so at least
you
made some money
them,
there.
Didn't you?
I moneylined them. Yeah. Both games. Yeah. So I did make something, but it would have been nice to hit the 71. All right. Well, okay. So we are going to the final team here, Seattle. They're over under is 10.5. I don't know if you like the 11.5 at plus 162. Obviously, the Super Bowl champion. It's going to be tough to repeat. I do have them winning 13 games, though. So I would lean over, but with that schedule, it's going to be tough.
What's the over vig?
The over 10.5 is minus 115. The over 11.5 is plus 162. And if you're curious, the 12.5 is plus 305. Yeah. So what do you?
I would take the over 10.5. I wouldn't take over 11.
Yeah, but what'd you say? Minus 115.
Minus 115. Yeah.
Now the concern I have.
I think that's a fair bet.
Yeah, the concern I have is how the new running game is going to fit in versus what they lost from last year. Effectively, we don't know how long is Charbonnet supposed to be out.
I would assume until November, but they drafted Jadarian Price in the first round, and I like that they said he's not going to play at all in the preseason. That means they like him a lot, and he's very talented. If Jeremiah Love wasn't there, he would have been, I think, drafted much higher because he didn't have the same workload that Jeremiah Love had.
What did the Seahawks lose from the coaching staff from last year?
Well, Kubiak is the big loss.
Yeah,
And
Right.
they
Yep.
hired
That is a
they
big
hired
loss.
Yes, it is. They hired a new coordinator. I've never heard of the guy, Brian Fleury. But like they hired him because they said he was the smartest guy that they interviewed. Like it was not a nepotism hire, it's not anything else.
Yeah.
They just said he was the smartest guy, so they hired him, and they've made good decisions.
Where was
you
it?
know.
Where was he from? What was his previous job?
Um, I don't know.
Was he
I'm
a
looking at it.
Was he a quarterbacks coach or another position
Uh,
coach?
he was he's the Niners. He's the run game coordinator for the Niners.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
he was actually with San Francisco since 2019. He's the run game coordinator, tight ends coach, and then he started as a defensive quality control coach. He used to be a linebacker coach for the Browns. So he's been all over the place.
So he was with San Francisco all those years through last year.
Yeah, 2019 to 2025. Yeah.
That's 7 years.
My guess is
Yep.
he's probably just fine.
Sorry, what? What'd you
So
say?
he's probably got a good head on his shoulders.
Yeah.
He's probably in that good coaching tree. That Shanahan, McVay, Kubiak, all these guys have had a lot of success.
Yeah, he could be good. I mean, we never know. Like we never heard of the guy, but he could be really good. He could be one of these
I was
bright
gonna ask
coordinators
Evan,
coming out of nowhere.
Evan, what's your evaluation of the job John Lynch has done with the 49ers?
Horrific.
Yeah.
Horrific
In
because
in
the draft
in
have been bad.
drafting.
You're going to ask
or
me
signing?
in one word, horrific.
Okay.
Absolutely horrific. I can't understand how the guy's got a job. No joke. Listen, they lucked into a serviceable average quarterback, Purdy.
Right.
Because let's call it what it is. He's an average quarterback. He's not a top 10 quarterback. He's not a bottom 10 quarterback. If you ask me to put a number on him, he's probably number 14, 15,
Okay.
right?
With great talent
he's-
around him.
And he's played better because he's in a Shanahan system. You know who else had a lot of yards in the Shanahan system? When Garoppolo got hurt, C.J. Beathard had a lot of yards. You know who else played well in the Shanahan system? Jimmy Garoppolo, who's not an NFL quarterback, right? I said for years Garoppolo and Tua Tagovailoa were not NFL quarterbacks, but they played in the Shanahan system. Tua obviously under Mike McDaniel, right? So all these guys, these guys are backup quarterbacks performing at a high level. Because the Niners smartly, I give Lynch credit for making a couple of big trades that have worked out very well. Okay,
McCaffrey.
the McCaffrey trade was an unbelievable trade. The Trent Williams move was a great move, but in the draft, he's been an utter disaster. He's had a couple of hits because a broken clock is right twice a day. But the guy drafted Jake Moody in the third round. Jake Moody today got cut, right? Because he can't make field goals in practice. The Niners.
See, the thing
took a-
that I
took a
like
third
about
round pick on
him is the thing what I like about him is, and you pointed to it, is by getting these average at best quarterbacks and surrounding them with talent means they don't have to spend huge amounts at the quarterback position, unlike most teams. So
But they
can
are
spend
now.
that money.
But they're
Neil?
spending $50 million now.
Now they
on
are,
Purdy.
yeah, because they're having.
Okay. So when he was on a rookie contract, they were in business. The Niners had their Super Bowl window when Purdy was on the rookie contract. Meanwhile, the Niners are very top heavy. Yes, they looked into George Kittle. Okay, George Kittle was what, a fourth round pick out of Iowa,
Third or fourth.
and he's come into his own. And Fred Warner, unbelievable draft pick out of BYU. He's come into becoming one of the best players in the league. Bosa was the second pick in the draft. The Niners had the second pick in the draft. But prior to that, think about what Lynch did. They were so gung ho about getting Kirk Cousins one year that they decided, you know what, we're not gonna even look into Deshaun Watson or Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
No, one
Why?
of those two decisions was a good one.
So instead, what they did was they flipped positions with the Bears and drafted a bust named Solomon Thomas. One year, they identified that they needed a receiver and tackle, or receiver and corner. Excuse me. And instead of getting Trayvon Diggs and CeeDee Lamb, they traded up for Javon Kinlaw, another bust, and then traded for Brandon Ayuk, another bust, and then paid Brandon Ayuk, which was another terrible move. When Debo held out, Debo became a fat slob. He had a good year. He had an okay year. He didn't have a good year. He had an okay year. And they paid him before they had to pay him. And then once they paid him, the guy turned into an offensive lineman. I love the Debo pickup this year because now the man's on a $7 million 1-year prove-it contract, and he's been in the gym for the last couple of months. He looks like the Debo from the, first before his contract his contract year. So I think that was a good move bringing him back. I did not understand last year why they originally didn't want to bring back Juszczyk, who, from a chemistry perspective, was a great player, the best fullback in the league, a smart guy, and they didn't bring him back. And
one big payoff,
they didn't bring him back.
Payoff in the Super Bowl at 25-1 to catch the first pass.
Right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think Lynch has been a real disaster. His drafts have been disgraceful over the last couple of years. He reaches for every pick, and they asked him this year, "How come every pick from you is a reach?" And he says, "Well, it's not a reach for us." It's like, dude, that's not the point, right? The point is you can get the same player you like a round later. Or 10 picks later, and there's value in that, right? There's a lot of value in those picks. Now, maybe Stribling turns out to be a great player. I'm not doubting that he might be great, and I'm not going to root against him. Pearsall, same thing last year. He has had an unfortunate situation with injuries. But Stribling, they probably could have gotten a bunch of picks later. They don't have to trade up and be in that situation. And there's a value perspective. You look at the team now, the team is top heavy. And there's a lot of youth on that team that if they're big players, their big names get hurt, they're in big trouble.
Yeah.
So they're paying Brock Purdy, an average quarterback, $53 million a year. Last I checked, they don't have Josh Allen, Mahomes, or a quarterback like that on the team that can carry the load. And they're relying on aging players right now because their drafts have been disgusting.
Evan, this will make you frustrated. One of our sources with the drafts heading into that the 2017 draft, the Niners were second, and we're like, because the source is from the NFC West, and we're like, what do you think the Niners are going to do? And that source said, I don't know, but I'm terrified that they're going to take Patrick Mahomes. So they probably should have,
now,
Yeah,
right?
the whole Patrick Mahomes saga.
Sorry, what'd you say, Andy?
No, was that source with the NFC West in Mahomes' draft year, or is he with them now? And talking about
he
what
was
the talk was back then.
No longer with that team, but in 2017 he was with the NFC and with one of the three other NFC West teams.
Okay, so
yeah,
and it's not like Mahomes was touted as the next Peyton Manning coming out of college, right? So, but at least do your homework, Walt. I think I mentioned to you this year during the draft. I think there was a situation where the Niners took two players from the same school. I forget which school it was. Was it Washington, maybe, or someplace out west? And I said, I don't think the Niners prepared for this draft. They probably just went to one game, one school that was local, and they saw two players they liked and put them on their draft board.
That actually happens a lot. Like sometimes the player, like there will be scouts or GMs like watching a player, and another guy will catch their eye. They're like, "Oh, who's this guy?" And so that does happen a lot. So you actually do see teams like doubling up
Willis
on. Yeah.
And Prysock.
Yeah, I don't. We didn't grade those guys highly. But Stribling has been great. I would say that so far, at least from what we've seen in the preseason and training camp. So I do have some hope for him. What do you think about McCaffrey? I mean, he's dealing with this tightness, which sounds like a nothing burger. But
yeah,
2 years ago at this time, McCaffrey was considered questionable heading into the Week 1 game against the Jets.
Was that the one where he went to Europe for the?
Yeah, it was calf tightness. That's literally what it was. It was calf tightness, and he missed half the year. So I don't.
Yeah, I'm not concerned because I've seen a bunch of his workout videos, and the guy's a freak. I was concerned last year because if you look at the amount of touches he had for your fantasy players out there, McCaffrey was a machine last year, but he was a machine a lot of times when it was unnecessary. And we saw the same thing 2 years ago out of Saquon Barkley. When these guys get 400 touches, and McCaffrey was an MVP caliber player. If you take away the quarterback position, he was a top 3 offensive player. I mean, the guy had almost 1,000 yards in receiving and rushing, but too many touches for no reason. A lot of games they don't need to utilize. They don't need to utilize him the way they do, and they just feed him and feed him and feed him 25 touches a game. It's just too many touches for a running back of his age. These running backs don't last.
What is he,
I'm not
31,
concerned about him today. Yeah, I think he's about 31, 32. 30?
Yeah,
is he 30?
I think he is 30. Yeah. Let's see. He's 30. He just turned 30 2 months ago.
Until he doesn't play a game, I'm not concerned. The two players I'm concerned about right now, injury-wise, are Trent Williams, just because of his age, and Nick Bosa. Because if the Niners don't have a pass rush, and they had the worst pass rush last year, they had Brissett in one game throwing 47 times, and they didn't touch him in that game. if you don't have a pass rush in this league, you're not winning. You're not going very far. I don't care who your secondary is. If you don't get to the quarterback, you can't defend in this league.
Yeah.
And without Bosa, Bosa affects games. Bosa won that Seahawks game in week 1 by getting to the quarterback. Bosa won the game in week 2 against the Saints by getting to the quarterback. You need to have guys that are going to make a play. And that's where the Rams.
You got to make the opposing quarterback uncomfortable as quickly as possible. So he
Right.
makes bad decisions.
And that's where Seattle and the Rams have a major edge over a team like the Niners.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, I think we agree for the most part on this division. We like the over for all three of these teams, but not Arizona. So yeah, I mean, Evan, Andy and I have discussed every team so far with their win totals. Is there any team or maybe a couple teams that you like a lot for over under here?
Yeah, I mentioned Green Bay. I think Green Bay is probably an 8-win team. They're on the over-under is like 10.5. That's way too many wins.
Yeah.
I don't think their defense is any good without Parsons. I think that's a problem. Obviously, a lot of their coaching staff is gone. A lot of their brain trust is gone. I am not a Jordan Love fan. I thought Malik Willis last year was better than Love. I think Malik Willis is better than Love. I think Love is a very average quarterback. I don't have the statistics in front of me, but I believe he averages for his career under 230 yards per game. So I think he's very hit or miss. Obviously, they lost Romeo Doubs, which is a loss on that side. Kraft is great, but Kraft is coming back from an injury. And Josh Jacobs is an aging player. So I think the Packers are a mediocre team playing in a better division. I think the Bears are better. I think the Lions are better. And I think the Vikings could be on par with the Packers. It wouldn't surprise me if the Packers finished last in the division, and I would have them right now probably for third in the division. So I really like that Packer under. I think Carolina's not as good as they were last year. I thought last year they overachieved. They won a lot of games they shouldn't have won. The Rams game we mentioned already. There were a couple of other games where the Panthers won. Teams seem to take them lightly. Bryce Young played better last year than he did in years past. I still have him as a bottom tier quarterback, but I don't think the Panthers are an 8.5 win team, except for the fact that they play in a weak division. So I lean the Panthers as an under. The Packers I like a lot under the total. Sorry, Packers. Yeah, Packers. I like Denver under. I think Denver's win total is 10.5. Is that's very high for Denver. I'm against you, Walt. I think the Chiefs are going to be better than you think. Obviously predicated on Mahomes being healthy. So if the Chiefs are better than they were obviously than last year, I think the Chargers are going to be very good with McDaniels. I think that McDaniels will unlock Herbert. I don't have interest in betting overs for the reasons I mentioned earlier. Obviously, offensive line injuries last year completely derailed the team, so that could certainly happen again. So I wouldn't bet the over, but injuries aside, I believe the Chargers and the Chiefs are better than Denver. So I think Denver's win total is 10.5? I can't see that.
It is 9.5 minus 105.
9.5. Okay, so maybe that's a team where I would buy a win or two and package them with teams like Arizona and Miami, because I don't think Denver is winning 11 games. I certainly don't think Denver is going to get to the wins they had last year. I think a lot of those wins were fluky and lucky. Miami, you probably mentioned. We mentioned that a couple of times. I think Miami has absolutely no talent. I do like Malik Willis as a backup with real talent around him, but not on Miami's team, which is clearly, obviously, devoid of complete talent. Is Storm Duck still starting for that team? I don't know the direction Miami is going, but I don't see Miami being any good at all. There is a team that I thought would be better than their win total. Again, I don't like betting overs, and I get burned by this team every year. And it's not because I'm a New York homer. I happen to think the Jets have more talent than people think. Yep. So when I was reading about the Jets, I was looking at the Jets. I'm thinking, like, if Geno could be half as good as Mina Kimes thinks he is, the Jets
top 20 and not top 10.
The Jets could win. Maybe the Jets can. The problem is their line, I think, is 7.5. Like, maybe they win 6 or 7 games, but I think the Jets are going to be competitive in their games. But every time I back the Jets, I lose without fail. So I would not advocate a Jets over. But
it's only 5.5.
Oh wow! Okay, what's the over at? Is there like what's the vig on that over?
5.5 minus 120.
Yeah, see, I'm a sucker. I'd probably bet that. Even though I don't like betting overs, that's probably one of the few overs I would bet. That's a low total for the Jets.
Yeah,
and the division is not. I mean, the Patriots are good. They're not great. And the Jets are going to play teams like Miami twice, and they're
Yeah,
going to play. I think they play the Raiders, and I think they play Arizona. So there's a
yeah,
lot
they
of
got a
winnable games on that
four to
schedule.
play schedule. Yeah, here they open at Tennessee. That could be a telltale
That's a
game for them.
winnable
For
game.
both
That's a
teams.
winnable
For both
game.
teams. Green Bay at home, at Detroit, at
A winnable
Chicago,
game.
home to Cleveland. That's winnable. At New
Winnable
England,
game. Yeah.
back-to-back home games against Miami and the Raiders.
That's very winnable games there, of course.
Yeah. At Kansas City, home to Buffalo, at the Chargers, at Miami before their bye week. Makes that a
Okay.
winnable game.
Okay.
Home to Denver, at Arizona,
Winnable game.
home to New England, Minnesota, and Buffalo. Yeah, they could be between six and
It's
7
it's
games.
a very. I think I have them at 6 or 7 wins, and I like that over 5.5. But like I said, I never win any Jets bets, so take that with a grain of salt. Who else did I think I liked?
I had the Jets at 6 wins as well, so I
What's,
would
what
lean
is the
over.
big on the? What's the big on what? Over 5.5? Well,
Over 5.5
Yeah, so
is
minus
minus 120, and 6.5 is plus 160.
Let me, if I quickly take a look at my little spreadsheet here of what I've bet already. I'm just looking to see here. Who do I write down? I'm trying to see where I'm like a couple of wins off on my win totals because everyone else was relatively close. I do like Cincinnati. I don't know what their win total is. Is it 10.5 Cincinnati?
Yeah, we like that a lot too. Cincinnati is 10.5 plus 115.
yeah,
I have Cincinnati winning 11 to 12 games.
Yeah, me too.
yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
something that I kind of like that over. But again, Cincinnati is just one of those teams that like I don't see how that coach keeps his job this year. If they get off to a slow start, I think that coach could be out. And if they don't make the playoffs, I'd be shocked if he came back. But I love Burrow. I mean, obviously, I love Burrow. I love the offense,
Yeah.
but the defense has just let them down the last couple of years, and they seem to lose games to the Browns that they shouldn't lose. They just lose games they shouldn't lose.
I think they did some. I think they did some decent adjusting to the defense during the offseason.
Yeah, their defense will be better this year for sure. Like,
Well,
it
it
won't
can't
be
get any
great,
worse.
but if
Yeah.
yeah, but it's instead of bottom 5, they could be like 18th, and that
Yeah.
could just be good enough for Joe Burrow.
With
You
that
know, he's-
offense?
Yeah, their offense could be top 5.
Yeah, same with that.
What's-
Same
what-
thing with Dallas. It's the
Who
same
are the
thing.
top 2 running backs for the Bengals this year?
Chase Brown and Samaje
Right.
Perine.
Okay.
So there's
Capable
continuity.
veteran.
There's
You're right.
continuity on that offense. P. Ryan's a nice back out of the third down back, and Chase Brown is good out of the backfield catching the ball too.
Yeah.
And
I believe all the starters are back.
Joe Burrow, if he stays healthy and the receivers stay healthy and the offensive line stays healthy and the defense is 18th, is still not good, that team could be in a lot of high scoring games and Burrow could be an MVP candidate.
I do like Burrow for MVP potentially.
It would not surprise me if that team's a 12-win team.
The Bengals are my pick to win the Super Bowl this year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Bengals over
I've said that-
Cowboys. 255 to 1.
I Bengals over Lions. The
I'll
past
give you another under. Yeah, what were we saying about the Pats?
the past 2 or the past 4 Super Bowl participants have all played the NFC South.
What'd you
Here's
say,
another
the past
under I
4,
like.
right?
I don't know what their line is. Can you pull up the Steelers under?
Oh, I love the Steelers under. Steelers under is there we go.
7.5?
Under 8.5 minus
8.5.
130 or under 7.5 plus 134.
Mike McCarthy's the worst coach in the league.
Yes, finally. We have Andy and I have been arguing about this all summer.
He's the worst coach in the league, Andy.
I don't think he's the worst coach in the league.
Who's worse?
Well, they're not coaching now.
Who's coaching now that's worse than Mike McCarthy?
I'd have to think about that.
Yeah,
All I
I'm
know
sure
is
you do.
he had good regular season success with the Cowboys.
He had good regular season success with the Cowboys. And he also won a Super Bowl with the Packers. Despite him. They won despite him. The Cowboys had a good team. The Cowboys had a talented roster. That's a talented group, especially on offense. Mike
Yeah.
McCarthy, I mean, the guy is it's hilarious watching the guy coach. I love watching the Cowboys in the playoffs. He had Zeke Elliott lining up at center.
that time mismanagement at the end and the Niners game was awful.
He attempted a fake punt, I think, on Thanksgiving Day from his own 14-yard line. or maybe it was from his own 25 and it was 4th and 14. Mike
Yeah.
McCarthy comes up with hilarious plays and big game situations. That I just don't see how that team's going to function because Rodgers doesn't want to get touched, and you
Right.
saw it last year. He wants to dump the ball off to Jalen Warren right away. He wants to throw a quick back shoulder to DK Metcalf, who doesn't want a back shoulder. He wants to go deep.
Yeah.
Pittman is a nice possession receiver, and Fryermuth is not a bad player. And the defense have real name players who always get hurt. But I just don't see how. And I'm not a Tomlin fan. And Tomlin, it was easy to bet against him, and it was easy to bet on him. You knew exactly when that team was going to show up, and exactly when they were a 7-point favorite at home against the Browns. Give me the dog. When they were a 3.5-point underdog against the Ravens, give me the Steelers, right?
Yep.
But McCarthy, I mean, I just don't see how that team now. I think if there was one good thing that Tomlin had, is he was a leader. The guys, he was able to get the guys up for big games.
He got the
He
most
wasn't
out of
able to get him up for. He got the most out of those players.
Tomlin did.
I don't see how McCarthy is going to do that. And I think this team is going to fall off the rails. And if Rodgers goes down and you end up turning to one of those backup quarterbacks or Aller, oh, please. Mason Rudolph, Drew Aller, coming into an NFL game. And I'm not talking about a preseason NFL game. I'm talking about a regular season NFL game. I can't wait to see Drew Aller in a regular season game. Remind me when that boy comes in.
Aller was made for the preseason where there's no defensive scheming.
Yeah,
like he looked great.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, Aller looks fantastic. Yeah, no one's game planning for him. It's vanilla defenses. Like once he has to make like reads and kind of uncover what the defense is doing, that's gonna be interceptions.
I think Aaron Rodgers this year is going to look like Cam Newton in his final year in Carolina. A lot of balls being thrown at people's feet.
Yeah, I
just
like them week
don't see it.
one. I like them week one, and then I will be fading them the rest of the way.
Who are they playing week one?
Atlanta at home. That's gonna be Tua. That's gonna be Tua starting against that defense.
I do like that. We'll pick and choose. It's not like we're going to be going against Pittsburgh every week.
Right.
But 8.5 wins.
Yeah,
That's
at
not a 500
the
team.
at the very worst, the defense will be worse this year because there's no Tomlin. That we know that. Like so I really like the under here as well.
Yeah, 8.5. That's a little bit too high.
What did we have them at? I know. What did you have them at? 4, I think, and I may have had them at 7 or something.
I have the Steelers. I had the Steelers at 5-12 projected record.
Okay. I'm going.
I have them at 7 wins.
Okay.
I have them at 7.
When Andy and I did the win totals earlier in the summer, I think I had him at 4 or maybe 4.5 wins. We did toss-ups being half a win.
4 is a little. 4 is a little bit much.
Yeah, but that was before the Myles
bit.
Garrett. That was before the Myles Garrett departure. So I had them like losing to the Browns, but the Browns losing Garrett. That gave the Steelers an extra win. So that's where that 5th win came from for me. So Andy, when you find those numbers, that's going to be before the Garrett departure.
Oh yeah, no, I remember that. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to see what order we did it in.
Yeah, we did AFC. We did AFC East and West, and then we did AFC North and South.
I had somehow I got 8.5.
Okay.
And you got I got 8.5, and you got 4.
4. Yep. Right. But then I added one more for Garrett being gone, so we ended up being 5. So glad we're on the same page there, hating the Steelers.
So now what you do is you go back to the lessons that we learned earlier, and you could package these with 2 or 3 teams, and then sprinkle some money on the big one.
Yeah.
Arizona, Tennessee, Carolina, Green Bay. Throw a couple extra wins there on Denver, Miami, Pittsburgh, Atlanta. Forget the overs. No overs. We don't want any overs here. We want under. Find those
Steelers are 10.5 minus 380.
Beautiful. 10.5. Great bet. Pittsburgh under 10.5.
Oh, under 10.5.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh 10.5. Arizona under 6.5. Tennessee under 8.5. Atlanta under 9.5. Who else could say? Packers under 11.5. Miami under 6.5. Cleveland. I don't know if you want to throw Cleveland into that mix. Like under 7.5. Maybe throw Denver under 11.5. I don't see Denver getting to 12. Maybe you don't like that. Take him out. Atlanta under 9.5 or 10.5.
What about Washington?
That could be another.
Washington, to me, I would leave out Washington because if things break right, Jaden Jaden is very good. I like Jaden Daniels, cousin Jaden. So I don't love playing those unders. That team could be competitive, and in a great season like we saw the Colts were up to last year before Jones got hurt, or Minnesota a couple of years ago. Washington could be a team that surprises that could win a bunch of games. I'm not saying they will, but the 8 teams that we mentioned, the Pittsburgh, the Cleveland, the Tennessee, the Miami, the Arizona, Carolina, the Green Bay. Take those teams, buy a win, and then do another one where you buy a second win.
Yeah.
Get them under 1 more win and then under 2 more wins.
Yeah.
You're gonna get 20-1, 10-1. When you're throwing 8 teams together, the algorithm will give you a massive payout. Package those teams, mix and match, and then towards the end of the season, let's look at them and say, how are we doing on these win total unders? And we say, we got like 6 of them alive. We need Arizona to lose 1 of the next 3 or 2 of the next 3. And these are money makers right there. They sound so square because we're parlaying win total.
It's unlike college football and college basketball where you're dealing about, huge money lines because the spreads are 17, 18, 20. You don't have that with these season win totals where a huge minus in a win total is minus 380.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, remember last year.
And that's a lot of wins. A team going from 8.5 to 10.5. It's massive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember we late in the year last year, like they would not line any games above 14, even though like Brady Cook was playing. And I remember like saying like we just gotta hammer these favorites,
right?
Because they're not making the lines high for some reason.
On the alternates, you were playing minus 21.
Yeah.
And what we were doing on those games is we were playing them on the live number that. We would just go to the team total over the other way or team total under for those teams that they weren't going to score. They weren't moving the ball past midfield. Yeah, so I'm telling you right now, you can take advantage in a very, very big way, packaging these win total unders, 3-game, 5-game, 8-game parlays, buying 1 win, buying 2 wins. And there's not enough, there's no shortage of money you could put on this. Just start loading it up. I've already done this. I've maxed out multiple accounts. I've had to add money to accounts. And unfortunately, can't do this offshore. Can't do it here in Vegas. But, you're tying up money for 6 months. But I would rather tie my money up here on these win total and no playoff propositions than, a future win total on Arizona 3.5.
Yeah.
Right? At minus 115. Or getting a team under or over 10.5 because I like it's a 9.5. Give me over 10.5 and getting plus 140. Give me my money on the plus 230 or plus 300 or plus 500 on the 5 win total parlay teams. Love them.
Where you've got a 2-game advantage on each team.
Yeah.
And you're still getting a nice payoff. Yeah.
I would never want to. I always ask myself, would you want to book that action? If I came to you and I said, Andy, can you book this? You would look at me like I'm crazy. If I walk up to the window right here at the Wynn Casino Resort and Spa and ask them if they want to book this for me, they would look at me like I'm nuts.
Yeah.
We asked them today, Andy and I asked them at Circa today, how come they don't want to take my live quarterback ladders? And they looked at us like, we don't do that. It's like, yeah, because you guys are smart.
Yeah.
I can't wait for those. Those are so great last year.
When I was here in May, I always asked them at the window, can I live bet NBA player props and rebound totals in the fourth quarter? They looked at me like, huh? They're like, no. Before the game, you can go bet Wembanyama right now, 12.5 rebounds. I'm like, no, I don't have any interest in Wembanyama 12.5 rebounds right now. I have interest in Wembanyama getting 3.5 rebounds in the fourth quarter. That's what I have interest in. And they look at me like, I'm not booking that. I'm like, yeah, you're damn right you're not booking that because I'm going to win 9 out of 10.
I told you the interaction I had where I was like, I didn't even go that intricate. I went can I do live golf betting? And the guy at the Park MGM was like, no, we don't have that. And I'm like, well, FanDuel has that. And he's like, this is not FanDuel. This is Las Vegas. Yes, you're supposed to be better, but they don't offer that.
See the size of this casino behind me? There's a reason it's so big.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, they're not going to book stupid stuff.
Nope.
Big FanDuel. Well, because at FanDuel and DraftKings, they have so many, dumb customers who play those the Dave Portnoy live parlay, Stevenson to get a touchdown, Henderson to get a touchdown, Hunter Henry to get a touchdown, Butte to get a touchdown. 4-1.
Oh, these sports books salivated once they started to strike the deal with the NFL for sponsorships for wagering and everything, because they knew
Mhm.
they were going to get a lot of really square money day after day when they started having those little in-game, same-game parlays that are advertised on every other commercial on
But let's be
SportsCenter.
fair. How many people want to sit with a computer in front of them, like some of us do, and watch a game like that? If you want to watch a game with your friends at a bar, then you're not the player who's going to sit and live bet games, and that's fine. That's
Right.
cool. You can
Yeah.
enjoy the game. You can bet beforehand and have fun doing it. That's great.
Yeah.
But if you want to win money, sports betting, you're playing
In
live,
game.
or you're
Yeah.
doing some of the things that we've described here now on some of these futures, on these win total futures, and it's really free money. There's nothing they can do about it. They should not be allowing you to parlay the teams that we just mentioned getting 2 extra wins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be allowed.
I didn't even consider. I'm like, when you mentioned that to me, I'm like, I wonder if they allow that. They do. It's
Didn't we
crazy.
talk about that at the very beginning tonight, Walt? Something along those lines? The season win totals? Or I don't know if we were
Uh,
talking about parlaying them. I think you were talking about
well, we were talking about your exactas that you were betting.
middling and all that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, middling. Yeah, I was asking Andy because Andy likes these exactas. I've followed suit. I've done the same thing, and I was wondering like if you have like Rams over Jaguars at 100 to 1. Let's just say hypothetically you bet $100 on it to win 10,000. Do you also bet Jaguars over Rams, or do you go like, okay, if it's Rams Jaguars Super Bowl, I can middle it, taking like because the Rams are going to be favored in all likelihood. Like you could middle Jaguars plus 5.5 and win both bets. Evan, how would you approach that? Would you bet the other side on the
No.
exacta, or would you wait to the Super Bowl?
I would ride it to the Super Bowl because once again, for me, futures is all about equity. So if you have the matchup that you want, you have the equity in the game. So once you have equity in the game, you don't need to have both sides of that coin preseason. It's a waste of money. Preseason, I'd rather have a different exacta, right? Or I would use something else to hedge that as we get closer to that event happening. So I wouldn't necessarily go in and bet Rams over Jags and Jags over Rams. To me, that doesn't make any sense. Once I get to the game, if I get that game, Rams, Jags, doesn't matter who I bet preseason. It matters that I have that matchup at all, and now I can use that to make money in other ways throughout the game.
Okay, I think the conclusion we came to is like if you have 100 on Rams over Jaguars, maybe you do like 10 on Jaguars over Rams, and then you try to middle. You try to do like both, but you try to like
Well,
win both.
if you want to
win
do it in
both
that
sides.
fashion, then just instead of going 100, go 90-10.
Oh yeah, right, yeah. Right.
By the
That
way,
makes sense.
speaking of hedging your bets beforehand, so FanDuel and DraftKings, they all offer these cash outs. So if you're betting $100 on these parlays, take your bet and cut it in half. Go 50 and 50. It's very easy because you can click reuse selection. So
Yes.
take your bet, put it in the ticket, and you're betting $100. Great. Say, wait a second, timeout. Let me go to 50, reuse 50 again, because now as the season progresses, you might want to cash out. And you generally don't want to cash out, but if you're not in a situation where you can automatically hedge to guarantee, maybe you need 2 outcomes, not one, right? And they're offering you some sort of a cash out proposition. Sometimes it's worthwhile to take a little bit out. So I recommend when you're doing some of the same game parlays or season long parlays or season long futures parlays to middle your bet and go half half. So, or 70-30, so that you can at least profit on these bets. These bets are not a get rich situation, right? No one's saying to go put your max dollar on a 20-to-1 shot or a 10-to-1 shot, but definitely play these like normal bets, normal units, but play them to profit. People laugh at me. Andy and I met today to register for Circa, and someone said to me when I said I have 6 survivors. It's like, you just threw $6,000 down the drain. Have you ever won Survivor? I said, no, I have never won the Survivor at Circa. I've actually won other Survivor events. But someone's like, you're wasting money. I said, do you understand how much money I'm up playing Survivor for the last 6 years? I'm up over $100,000 betting Survivor. Now, granted, $35,000 of that came on the last game that I lost when I came in 10th place 3 years ago. I won $33,000 in one shot. But I'm up over 6 figures using the equity in my survivors. The Arizona game that we referenced earlier, what do you think? Do you think I was not betting Tennessee in that game? When Tennessee was down 21-6, you know what I bet in that game? Tennessee over 17 and a half points or 14 and a half points, right, on the team total. I think I needed 6.5 or 8.5 points at the time. I bet Tennessee plus 14 and a half in that game. And shit, I even put $100 on the Tennessee money line at 17-1. So as they were coming back, and I'm pissed off because I'm going to lose 2 of my 4 remaining entries, I'm thinking to myself, I don't care if Arizona loses this game. Because I actually, by the end of the game, I was happy Arizona lost. Because if you remember, Andy, on Thursday night, the Rams lost to the Niners and 3,500 people got knocked out. And 3,500 people had Arizona. So to me, we knocked 7,000 people out of Survivor that weekend. And I was very happy to keep 2 entries remaining.
Yeah, so
and I won $3,000 on the game.
Yep.
That was week, I want to say that was like week 4, week 5 maybe.
It was week 5. Believe me, week 5, I know.
Week 5. So I'm playing that game with equity. As the season progressed, I lost my last entry on Thanksgiving Friday with Chicago and Philly. And if you remember that Chicago game, Monangai and Swift were just running absolutely wild. So I was laddering Monangai and Swift yards. Monangai's yards in that game, he was like an over-under of like 40 and a half yards, 50 and a half yards. So when I'm laddering Monangai 60 plus, 80 plus, 100 plus, we made thousands of dollars on that game on ladders alone, betting on the Bears. Now, am I happy I lost my Survivor? Absolutely not. But because I had the Survivor equity, I'm able to go a little crazy betting against my picks. And the hope is that a lot of my picks, I'll end up winning both ways. I'll end up winning the team totals or the spreads that I'll take. I'm not just playing money lines and going full bore that I'm going to lose money, but the Survivor position is equity. And also I have 2 partners who are, one is 20, one is 10%. So I'm a 70% shareholder in my positions. Yeah. As the season progresses, if we make it to Thanksgiving or beyond, people are buying shares in Survivor.
Yeah, that's the key. I mean, I forget what the numbers were on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving and on the Saturday after Thanksgiving, what the imputed value of each remaining entry was. And it was, I pretty certain it was 6 figures at that point.
Yes. So I have had friends and even people that are friends of mutual friends, contact me and say, hey, can I buy a percentage? Can I buy 5%? Generally, my answer is no. I don't have any interest in selling my shares until way later because I know how to hedge my own positions. I don't need to sell shares. And frankly, I don't really want to sell shares earlier in the season because I map out Survivor every week and I do a pretty good job of it. This year, it's generally impossible because the Christmas and Thanksgiving week have overlapping teams. I think 6 of the 8 teams are overlapping.
6 of the 10 teams that play on Thanksgiving, those 6 of them are also Christmas or Christmas Eve, whatever it is. The 4 games that they have.
What we're going to have to do is generally wait for injuries to happen and things of that nature, which will happen. They just always happen. So it's imperative. It's important now to save pretty much all of those teams because you really don't know who's going to be the valuable play. And that's what makes Survivor so fun and so hard early in the season is survive in advance. How many of us are going to have the balls to take the Raiders in week 1? I will have the Raiders in week 1. I don't know how many times, but I will have the Raiders in week 1. And to go back to my point, I spent $6,000 today on Survivors. I don't feel like I lost money today. I didn't buy those entries just for fun. I bought those entries because I plan to profit off of my shares of those entries. Now, if I lose in week 1, 5 out of 6 entries, that sucks. It's happened before. It is what it is. We're all, big boys and girls, and people are going to lose, and you move on with life. But if I can get 1 or 2 of those entries to week Thanksgiving, those entries, I assure you, are profiting. And anybody who's betting long-term futures, win totals, the other thing I'm doing here in Vegas this week is I'm buying every running back yardage under. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your name is. I love you, McCaffrey. I'm buying your under bet. I'm buying Bijan Robinson under. Yeah, under yards per season, whether it's 1,200, 1,000, 900, 800, 600. I don't care who you are. If you're a running back and you have a win and you have a yards total, I am betting you're under because I'm going to win 25% of those bets on injuries alone. Now, I'm not doing that with receiver yardage and passing receiving yards. And I'm not doing it with quarterback passing yards or quarterback rushing yards. But every running back that I can find, I'm going to have a bet on in some capacity of their rushing yards under. Now, if I find 2 sports books that are 100 yards apart, I might go 80-20 or 70-30 under the higher number and over the lower number. But it's just a matter of I'm not here. I love football, We all love football. We're all here to enjoy watching the games first and foremost. But I'm one of those people that want to profit off of the game as well as a hobby, so that I can take my family out to the Wynn Casino multiple times a year, so
I
that I
think
can be traveling and whatever else.
Evan and I were talking today, and I don't know if it came up exactly this way, but the saddest thing about this summer, it was the merger or the partnership that Caesars and Westgate Sportsbook now have, where Westgate is now being the sportsbook is now being powered by Caesars, and what that meant is they didn't put out those weeks 2 through 18 sides and totals, which we could find so valuable for charting
Yep,
our way through the season in the survivors.
yep,
Yeah.
that's a shame.
We missed
Yeah.
that.
And,
The other,
and
the,
we
yeah,
asked we asked the guy behind the counter at Circa, "Hey, do you have this?" And he's like, "No." I'm like, "Why not?"
yeah.
It's like, "Well, we don't want you betting into week 8 right now." It's like, "Oh,
I think
I got it."
DraftKings has a lot of those games, I believe. But they don't have every game. Like I'm scrolling here on the screen here. I get Sunday, September 20th, get Browns Buccaneers. So we have lines on that.
Right.
There are a lot of these games. I would be surprised if they have most of these games. Maybe
But
they
we
They,
always liked as the season progressed to look back and say, "Hey, Cleveland's playing Cincinnati in week whatever it was, week 8, whatever the number is." It's like, let's look back at the preseason number for what this game
yeah,
was and
Yeah.
see how the public perception has
change.
changed
Yes.
and really see if it's warranted. And that's
Yep.
something that we always like to gauge, not
The
as a rule of
difference.
thumb, but it was a great tool to have
Tool.
to
The thing
use.
is, and why, like, let's say the circuit doesn't do it, because they realize that what's happening is the casual guy from Chicago who comes in and wants to bet the Bears every week are just going to bet the Bears because they're the Bears. The professionals who take advantage of that will say, "Hey, wait a minute," and they study this and say, "Hey, this line is 3 right now. It's going to be 7 by the time this
Right,
game is played,
right,
barring injuries. Let's
right.
go lay the 3 now, buy back at
Correct.
7 if we're right." And they're going to hit them for decent amounts, and
Yeah,
and the money that they play is going to dwarf all the tourist
Yeah.
right.
money from the people who are betting on their favorite team just because they can.
Now, to be fair, the Westgate in the past, I think the max bet they would take is like 3 grand on some of those bets.
Yeah,
It wasn't like they were taking real money. So
yeah.
they were taking $3,000 on those positions. But like you said, it gave a lot of professional bettors equity knowing the lines were going to be off and then just kind of take the casino for
And
their bid.
creating middles, yeah.
Right, right. And we
Especially in
did a
college
lot of that.
football. Yeah, especially in college football with their games of the year, where there's so much volatility in colleges that you can get, -8 on the favorite back in August and get +15 on the underdog in November.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
just a huge advantage. But I mean, DraftKings does have these odds up. I don't know what their limits are here, and some of us can't bet on DraftKings. It's right. What I would recommend is betting on those Dave Portnoy parlays, because so you could throw off the algorithm, and they're like, oh, this guy's an idiot. So that's what I would suggest. Also, don't bet both sides of the game. I actually noted that today because we had Angels at +355, and I said come back with the Indians +2.5, -102, but do that on a different sports book. I was like, we had that on DraftKings,
Oh
so I was
yeah,
like, do it on
yeah.
FanDuel. Make sure you don't do that on DraftKings because they will flag you for that. So,
Yeah, I made that mistake the other day. I sent Walter one of my bets. I logged into the what game was it, Walter? It was the Patriots. Was it the Seahawks?
it's Patriots.
Seahawks?
No, it was the Seahawks playing Titans.
It was Seahawks Titans.
Was it Seahawks Titans? I thought it was Patriots Eagles.
No,
It was
you're right.
Patriots
It
Eagles.
was,
Patriots
it was
Eagles.
Patriots. It was Patriots against somebody,
Patriots
and
Eagles. Yeah.
and I quickly bet Patriots were down, and it was maybe like a drive or two to go. I'm like, oh, I'll get the Patriots 4-1. And then they drove and scored. I'm like, oh, I'm going to take the Eagles now +2.5 at 4-1. And I just ended up with both sides of the game 4-1 in about 5 minutes. And then I took a better bet in the next game. I know it was Seattle because I see it on here in the sports book behind me. It was
Yeah.
Seattle, and I saw a prop for yardage. It was somewhere in the first half, and it was Seattle to get to 300. It was a ladder on yards, total yards, and 300 yards was +240. 325 was like -200, and then 350 was like -150, right?
Uh-huh.
And I'm
Yeah.
thinking, wait a second, Why is 300 yards getting plus money? That doesn't make
well,
sense. It's got to be
yeah.
a mistake. And they had like 112 yards at the time. It was like early second quarter. And I'm like, this is probably a mistake. Let me just put $200 on this right now, real quick. So I put 200 at plus 240. And I hit submit. Bet goes through, and seconds later, it says minus 550. I'm like, oh shit! I wonder if they took my bet.
Yeah.
Sure enough, they took my bet, and they were offering me a cash out. They were offering me a cash out of $522. So instead of winning 480, I'm like, I'll just cash out 322. Fine. So I
Yeah.
quickly cashed out. I won $322, and then I used that on the next possession to buy $50 bets of Drew Lock to get 10, 20, 30, and 40 yards passing with various odds. He got 10, then he got to 20, so I won those two, and then he had a pass into the end zone that was dropped. Like, damn. So I lost the 30 and 40.
That'll
he
be in Walter's book next year.
Yeah.
Right.
Volume 2.
No. I can't complain because I immediately found a bet that was a mistake. The odds were a mistake. The odds were not obviously plus 240. And someone said to me, I showed this to one of my friends. They're like, "How do you find this?" I'm like, I don't know. I was kind of just quickly scrolling through the ladders that were available,
It
and
catches your
that
eye.
just caught my eye. Yeah, it's caught my eye. Someone's like, "How the heck did that catch your eye?" I'm like, well, if a smaller number was plus money, then a bigger number was a minus money. That immediately caught my eye, and I immediately bet it without thinking. By the way,
you do a very quick double take, and then you bet it.
yeah.
just to make-
After
and
that
read it.
drive, I shut the game off. I had no intention of watching the game. I was doing some work and whatever. And the next morning, I'm like, I wonder if they got to 300 yards. They did not. Seattle got to 257 yards. So I appreciate FanDuel for giving me $322 to catch their mistake.
Just for
Like
free.
I said, FanDuel, if you hire me to work for you, I will not take advantage of your stupid lines or give the thousands of people who log into Walter Football's After Dark podcast advice on how to take them for bad bets.
By the way,
Yes.
let me just mention something because I don't know if you were there, Evan, when I asked the question about when the lines come out for Circa for that week 1 because it's not in the rules.
No, I didn't hear.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I was asking them. The rules said that lines are available Thursday mornings except for Thanksgiving Wednesday. Well, the first week of the season has the Wednesday night Seattle New England game. It wasn't covered in the rules, so I brought it to their attention and got a text back from the downtown folks at Circa. Those lines will be out on Wednesday morning instead of Thursday morning, so you can play. Those people who are playing the Pick 5 can play Seattle or New England on that first Thursday night. It's a rare mistake that they make, but I was looking for it 'cause
I can assure you that the 86ers will not have
Will not be
the
on that
Wednesday or
game.
Thursday night game.
No.
Absolutely not. No.
Possibly not even the Thursday Australia game.
We will not have the Thursday Australia game either.
Who knows what to expect there? Anything.
Yeah.
The 86ers will not have Thursday games on their card.
That goes back
this
to the
year.
question I asked you guys.
In other words, the 86
if you had Biff's
86ers and the
almanac
86
for the Thursday games, you have Biff's almanac for the Thursday games. Would you submit early every time?
I would not. I would never. I have not submitted early in years.
Yeah.
I
Basically,
learned that lesson years ago.
Only
Basically,
Thanksgiving.
the Sixers have decided to 86 the option of betting the Wednesday and Thursday.
That's right.
I believe those who are picking 4 games on Saturday on Thursday night are at a severe disadvantage.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't understand how people do it. It's crazy.
And some people say, "Oh, I know my games anyway." It's like, okay, great. That's your opinion. I'm not going to argue with people, but you are betting into a market with less information. I am all about information, and that will not change. My background is in data information, data science.
Yeah. Same. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
All of a sudden, your quarterback of one of your Thursday selections gets injured in practice on Friday.
Yeah.
That happens enough
that's
to
a
that you can't
basic
do
example.
it. Yeah.
Right. It's just not worth it. And not only that, it's not worth the mental distress of sitting through Friday, Thursday night, Friday, Saturday, knowing you're already 0-1.
Yeah.
Ugh, that's the worst. I hate that. You
It's a
even get that.
terrible feeling.
You even get that with the stupid London games, the European games, where you at 12:30 Eastern, you're 0-1. I hate those games so much.
And then after you start 1-0 on Thursday, you anguish over the 4 games that you played so early that, gee, I hope nothing happens in the next 24 hours.
What's great about having accounts, and whether it's offshore or legal sports books. If you love the Thursday night game, feel free to bet it.
By yourself, by
Right.
itself, sure.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
would tell Walter, if Walter and I are going over our games one week and Walter says to me, I love the Thursday night dog. And I maybe say, I don't like the Thursday night dog. Maybe I'll tell Walter, you know what? I'll give you an even money bet on it. No problem. Let's go.
There you
I'll
go.
book your action and let's
The
have some
problem
fun.
the problem with that is our show is on Thursday night, so
But I wouldn't book, Andy, I wouldn't book it with money. I would tell Walter if he loses the bet, he's got to join us out here in Vegas and risk the fact that his wife will have his stuff on the lawn the next
Go on,
week.
yeah.
yeah, that's always a risk.
By the
Can't
way,
do
they
that.
do have a rule on Survivor. If you play the Wednesday night game and lose, you can rebuy up to 10 up to
Yes.
you can rebuy up until you have 10 entries at one point. So if you bought 10 entries and you lose the Wednesday night game, you can buy them up on the Thursday night game. If you lose the Thursday night game, you can buy them back up till the entry deadline on Saturday. So the pool grows by people who will play that Thursday night game. No, the money doesn't mean that much to them, apparently, because they know that they could just rebuy and have their 10 full entries. The question is, will I have any entries available,
And
alive?
I
How
know,
many will
and
be
I know a
Friday?
bunch of people. I know at least two or three people that will do that.
Yeah,
We will not be one of those people.
no.
Would you do that if you could do it online? Like
No,
if you can't, you'd obviously have to fly out again, but you wouldn't.
no, I would not
Okay.
do it.
Okay.
If I like the game, I like the game. I would not do it strictly so that I can get ahead and say, you know what, I'm in the clubhouse week one already. I don't believe in that strategy at all. Not one bit.
I think when you look at it, and I tell this to people, on strategy and all that, more often than not, when you put in your $1,000 for your Survivor entry, expect to lose it. But that doesn't mean, and Evan points this out, that doesn't mean you can't make money on that $1,000, because of course you can with doing a lot of the techniques that Evan mentioned. Now, of course, you can. What people say is you can only use a team once, but you can go against a team as many as 14 times. The only 3 times you can't is in the rematches of a division game. So if you're able to find some of these really lousy teams early, one of the strategies is, go against them. Of course, you don't want to waste a team that you might like that'll be easy, that'll you want to play in a more difficult situation. The other thing I also say, and you work backwards on this, it's difficult sometimes to do, but if you are in a hedging position late in the year, let's say coming down to the last few weeks, you want to try to guess. And again, you still want to advance to the next week. That's goal number one. You want to advance to the next week. But in your considerations there, you may also want to take a look at, as the season unfolds in week 17 or 18, who are going to be the biggest favorites that week, because you may want to be able to save them to hedge by playing the money line, laying out less money on the money line on the team they're playing.
A lot of Survivor strategies. To me,
If that made any sense.
it's my favorite part of the NFL
Yeah.
season. I know, Walter, you don't get as much involved in Survivor.
Well, I do the DraftKings Survivor because there's no headache with Thanksgiving or Christmas games. It's not 18 million the first, or whatever it's going to be. It's 1 million the first. So, I'll gladly
Well, the
take
theory
million.
behind that, going back to Survivor, Circa came into existence before actually the casino was finished. 2019, they had the Circa Millions. Following years when they introduced Survivor. And the goal all along has been, we'd like to have one single winner. And they didn't in the first year, they didn't in the second year. And I think the third year is when they put in, okay, we're going to have a tiebreaker with, I forget, the team that'll be in the Super Bowl, or team that'll have the most wins or something. They still had a tie. Then they started to introduce the Thanksgiving week, and they still had people splitting the pot at the end.
No, I think, Andy, they had Thanksgiving. I think they had Thanksgiving week in the first year.
I don't think they did. I'll see if I can go back and find out.
I'm pretty sure they did, because I was not in it that year, and I remember thinking that I would be taking Dallas against Washington, and I remember hoping that Washington. I believe Dallas lost to Washington that year.
I'll see if I can find that. But I know that they continue to introduce different things.
Christmas came along later.
Yes, Christmas was a more recent thing because they still didn't get their sole winner. And same thing last year. The pot was 18.7 million. 6 people tied. They each cashed a nice 3.1 million. So they didn't make any changes this year, other than they upped the guarantee from 15 million to 20 million. I say they're going to get between 22 and 25,000 entries, which
Crazy.
would be nice.
So many.
That's why I thought about buying 10 entries, but then as I looked at the Thanksgiving and Christmas schedules, I just felt like even if I got to that point, I would be throwing entries away. But
yeah, well, because part of it might be there might be some weeks where, and again, I don't know what your theory is on it, as far as do you want to avoid playing the same team on more than one entry in a given week?
It all depends on.
Yeah.
I mean, week one we'll probably we'll probably go 3-2-1. Haven't figured out who's the 3, who's the 2.
Right.
Chargers, Jags, Raiders.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
the question is where we go with how many do we go with the Raiders?
Yeah. Well, the Chargers and the Jags are the two big favorites, especially the Chargers. I might want to avoid them that week and hope that they get upset and eliminate.
Right. I know that's a school of thought, and for me, it's more about how many more times throughout the season am I going to need to use this team. Jacksonville. Well, I think Jacksonville is one of the better teams.
Yeah.
That team has a tough schedule. And there's not a lot of weeks where I would go and lock in and say, I love the Jags in that week. I believe the Chargers are a team that are one of those teams that I could say, you know what?
Yeah.
There's like 4 times I kind of need the Chargers. I think I might need the Chargers in week 2. I forget who the Chargers are playing in week 2. But some of these weeks where it's like, you know what? I don't care. I understand the game theory of, hey, I'm going to avoid this big favorite because this is a team that everyone else is going to be on. Yeah. But if I think that team's going to win, then I don't really think that way so much.
No, I understand that. I just, it depends. If there are other teams, like for example, your play on the Raiders, and I'm considering that one as well. Play on the Raiders, you're not planning on using them at any other time during the season.
Correct. That's the only time
you're getting them in their most favorable spot they will be in all season, and you can almost say that regardless.
Which, by the way, they're only 3.5 point favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Cardinals. Don't they host the Cardinals, or do they go to Arizona? I think
the Raiders. I think. Let me see here. Las Vegas. They're at Arizona in week 17.
Okay. At Arizona, never mind. Okay. Well,
but, I mean Miami is the opening game of the season at home. I can't see. Look, when we went down the Raiders schedule, I don't know if we did it here or before. We only found like 3 or 4 games that they could realistically expect to win or be competitive in. And Miami is one of them. And Miami may be the worst team in the league. And you're getting them with a new head coach. You're getting it with a new quarterback. And it's the first game of the season where they're probably not going to be as bad as they are. They'll improve. But I don't think they could ever be as bad as they'll expect to be in week 1. Now, you have the same thing with the Raiders.
Who else has a new quarterback and a new coach, right?
Yeah, the Raiders. But the Raiders will be probably starting Kirk Cousins.
Still a new quarterback and a new coach.
Yeah.
Well,
not a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
More experience than Willis, but yeah.
Right.
And how's Kirk Cousins' arm? Right? Can he throw a ball more than 10 miles an hour?
Probably in September. Yes. Don't ask me about October.
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Yeah. I mean, he looked good in the preseason, but that's a dog and pony show.
Doesn't mean anything,
exactly.
You're not going all out, and you're going against guys who won't be on the opening day roster.
Yeah, I mean, if Nathan Peterman could look like John Elway in the preseason, then it doesn't mean anything. We saw Daniel Jones. Remember that game Daniel Jones had in the preseason? He looked like Joe Montana.
Listen, there are guys that these quarterbacks are playing against who are worse than Storm Duck.
Storm Duck. That sounds like
put that into perspective. Storm Duck will be a Pro Bowler in the preseason.
That sounds like the name of a show on the Hunting Channel.
Right. Storm Duck. Storm Duck was a starting corner last year for the Miami Dolphins. So I think
okay. Chargers in week 2, host the Raiders.
Right.
There you go.
And then that might be a week to consider him. Well, here's the following 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, 7 weeks after Vegas. They open at home to Arizona, home to Vegas. At Buffalo, at Seattle, home to Denver, at Kansas City, bye week, at the Rams, home to Houston, at Baltimore.
So you're not taking them in any of those weeks?
I
think the other weeks, if and again, I'm totally going off memory, who do they play in weeks 11 and 12?
Coming off of the game at Baltimore, home to the Jets, home to New England, at Tampa Bay, rematch at the Raiders, and then they San Francisco. Then week
Which is the
16 at
Jets? Which
Miami.
which week are they playing the Jets?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Week 11.
Okay, that would be the other time because I remember writing in
That's
my
a home
notes.
game.
I
Yeah.
remember writing in my notes week 11 as a
Yeah.
potential Chargers game,
The
and
only other
forgetting
game,
who else
well,
plays in
the
that
only
week.
game they play at Miami in week 16. The Chargers do.
Right, but if you look at week 11, and again, I haven't really, I can't say I've memorized the entire schedule,
Yeah.
but if you look at week 11, that might be one of the teams you need to use is the Chargers,
Yeah.
whereas there might not be a lot of other good options in that week.
Well,
We,
let me
So,
we, we
see
actually
here.
we should discuss that on the show yesterday. Like all the good fantasy teams have week 11 buys, so like all the good teams are off. So that might be
Yeah.
why it's tough to find a good team week 11.
so I'm going to quickly look at my trusty schedule here.
Yeah, I'm looking at week 11. That's November
Week
22nd.
11. Week
Yeah.
11. So you have Kansas City as a possibility, home against Arizona.
Yeah. But
Let's
there's
see
again
here.
there's the thought of looking to play against teams and finding out when you've got a
Right, that's
team
why
that you might not
I'm looking
normally
at
use. Yeah.
right. I was looking at Arizona. Miami plays Buffalo in Buffalo. Dallas plays home against Tennessee. Home against the Raiders. Detroit's home against Tampa.
Philadelphia's home against Pittsburgh.
Philadelphia's home against Pittsburgh. Now, again, the other problem, of course, is paying attention which of those teams we just mentioned are playing in Thanksgiving and
Yeah.
Christmas. So if you're sitting in week 11, you better have Thanksgiving on the radar 2 weeks
Oh yeah.
later, right?
Oh yeah.
So if I'm sitting with Kansas City potentially in a Thanksgiving game, or whoever Buffalo or any one of those teams that are potentially playing Thanksgiving and Christmas, I don't really want that team in week 11. So therein lies, all right, I don't want to burn the Chargers in week 1 because I probably want to use them a little bit in week 2, and I probably want to use them a little bit in week 11. So maybe I don't take them 3 times in week 1 out of my 6 entries. Maybe I take them once.
Here's a team that is playing that week 11. That might be a possible team, depending upon. I think that both of you said you like it. I think Evan really did. Cincinnati at home, facing Washington.
See, but I don't love going against Washington because I think Washington could be somewhat of an enigma this year. Like they could be that a hit or
Yeah.
miss team. Listen, if the offense is if the defense is a disaster like it was last year, I don't trust them as much. But Jane Daniels is a capable quarterback and he can
Yeah.
play. He could play with any one of these teams and keep his team in the game. So that's where in the first 6 weeks of the season, there's going to be injuries that say, you know what, we thought that team was going to be pretty good, but Jane Daniels not playing. Washington's terrible, right?
Yeah.
If you get big quarterbacks
Yeah.
who are not going to play, then you're going to
That
mark those
situation,
teams
yeah.
down on the. You're going to put those teams on the Arizona Miami level, where all right, I want to go bet it. I want to go against this team. Joe Burrow goes down. I
What do you
want to
think
go
about
against.
what do you think about what do you think
Uh,
about Baltimore this year?
well, I don't know how much I love the new coach. I think losing Harbaugh
Right.
is going to be a bit of a loss. But
Yeah.
if Lamar stays healthy, I have very high hopes for Baltimore.
Yeah.
I think that
Because
defense has
I
a
know the team
lot of
that you.
talent on that defense.
I was going to say the team I know you don't like is Carolina because in week 11 they host Baltimore.
I generally look towards home teams.
Yeah.
I have gone against that rule more times in the last few years, but I generally look towards the home team.
Yeah, the home
Chicago
field
hosts New
advantage is
Orleans that
diminished.
week.
Which is weird because when we talk circa millions, I happen to very often like
Yeah.
road teams because I think the home field advantage in the markets, I think, is priced wrong.
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
dropped off considerably.
Oh, that's been going down for a decade or so.
Yeah, I think there might be a point and a half for
Yeah.
most teams. I think it's a point and a half, and maybe like teams like Seattle.
Although
a team
Seattle's
that's
not been
square
a
at home.
strong. Seattle has
No,
not
I
been a strong
understand
home
that.
team recently, but
I get
historically,
that.
yes.
I get that. Historically, they haven't. But if I look at a team like Minnesota at home,
Yeah.
a dome team like Atlanta is usually better at home. If it's in the winter time, it's in a Green Bay or Buffalo, or if it's a quarterback like Tua who's going to go play outdoors. To me, I would give more of a home field to the home team simply because the quarterback of the road team can't play outdoors.
Mhm.
But if it's a general team like the Niners or the Chargers or the Rams or I don't know, the Colts, the Cowboys. I really don't think home field is worth more than a point, point and a half.
Yeah, not
So
these days.
if Vegas is giving 2.5 points, and it's kind of right around these key numbers, and I might be getting like a half a point or a point of value in that 3.5, 4.5 range. To me, that's very valuable. If you told me the line is 8.5 versus 9.5, it's
That's
like,
a
all
little
right,
different.
I don't really have any value there. But if I'm getting a 2.5 because the team's at home, or a 3, if I see a team that's -3 at home or -3.5 because they're at home, I'm thinking, wait a second, this team is a 2.5 point favorite. They shouldn't be 3.5, and I'm getting a real number. Now I'm going to be on that road team all day long.
Yeah.
But in Survivor, I just don't really like it.
No.
Yeah, we feel the same way about that.
Well, I've always felt one of the main difference for me for road teams versus home teams is the road team has to deal with the travel, which isn't. It's not that it's fatigue, but it's time that they're not able to practice. Those 8 to 10 hours involved in a travel from
Right.
wherever you're going to wherever you're going to, wherever you're leaving from to where you're going to be.
Yeah,
That
But I
is
think
a
that's
big
more
yeah.
prevalent on
advantage.
short weeks.
Yeah,
I think
I
that's
was
more
about
a
to
factor
say,
on
yeah,
short weeks.
yeah. If they have a shorter week or something like Monday night and they're going to Sunday or
And
Sunday to
frankly,
Thursday.
I think teams bond more on the road, whereas at home, I think there might be some more distractions for a team.
yeah,
They might not necessarily be in the practice facility because I think all these teams have figured out, especially the teams with the good coaches, they figured out how to prepare. But if you're going on the road on a Thursday, you're at a big disadvantage.
Oh yeah.
yeah. Well, you're recovering Monday. I'd love to see. Well, you and I have talked about. I'd love to see the NFL have a rule that when they come to scheduling, that if you're playing on Thursday night, you have a bye the week before.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, and yeah,
And
you want
and the other
that
thing I'd like
means
to
yeah.
see is that when they give out bye weeks, all 4 teams in the division get the same bye week. So there's no advantage.
Yeah, but
Early
Andy, that
season
would be
bye
logic.
weeks.
That would be logical. So
Yeah,
why
I
would they
know.
do that?
I
No,
know.
I didn't say they would. I said
They
that's why
finally
they would.
canceled the Pro Bowl.
Yeah,
It took them
yeah,
how long? Like, it's
That's
ridiculous.
because nobody watches the Pro Bowl.
yeah.
Yeah, I've been calling it for 20 years. I'm like, just make the team. They don't have to play the game.
Right.
Like, what's the point?
I think the only
Although
the
I will
only
tell you, my 8-year-old is very upset. He's like, what do you mean there's not going to be a Pro Bowl?
Just play on Madden or something.
only thing the only
Input the teams and
significant
just
thing.
play on Madden.
Yeah, the only significant thing I remember about the Pro Bowl was the year when who was it? Robert Edwards of the Patriots
Oh
was
yeah,
lost for the season in a volleyball game or something.
that was the year before the Patriots won the Super Bowl. Like
I
they
think so.
could have had him instead of Antoine Smith, a running back.
What year did they change the Pro Bowl where they used to have? I mean, as a kid, I grew up remembering when teams win the Super Bowl, the players of the winning team and the teams in the Super Bowl, players would get on a plane and show up a week later and play a real game.
Yeah.
Yes.
When did
yeah.
that change?
Oh wait. Well, I
Like
remember the old
early
what they call
tens,
it.
I think.
Well, I remember the old I think it called like the playoff bowl or something way back in the '60s, where the teams that lost in the NFC Championship game. This was before the Super Bowl, I think. Even
Yeah.
would in the 2 division games, the East and West, they'd play each other, and I think they called it the playoff bowl, which lasted about into like 70 or 71. But I think
But
I
do you know?
remember
Do
the
you
one
know
you're
what
talking
year? Do you know what year they changed the format from the week before, from the week after to the week before the Super Bowl?
I think
Looking
it was
up right
fairly
now.
recent. I'm going to say within the last 10,
I would
12
have
years.
guessed 2010. So, yeah, I said early
I don't know.
10s. I was right. Yeah, 2010. 2010.
2010. Okay.
Yeah.
I told my son, he's like, huh? He's like, the teams who
Okay,
play in the Super
Google.
Bowl would play in the Pro Bowl also?
Andy,
Yeah.
I just Googled it, so you're going to get the same answer.
Okay, Google. When did the NFL change the Pro Bowl
Just-
from being the week after the Super Bowl to the week before the Super Bowl?
It's the same source.
Yeah. Yeah, we may not get the same answer, though.
That'd be funny if we don't.
Moved the Pro Bowl to the week before the Super Bowl, starting with the 2010 Pro Bowl.
There you go.
2009 regular season, held on January 31st, 2010, in Miami Gardens, Florida. It marked the first time the All-Star Game preceded the championship game rather than following it. This 2010 Pro Bowl highlight reel showcases the
Okay.
Yeah,
There's our
I don't
answer.
understand. I don't understand doing and moving it from Hawaii too. It was such
Well,
a joke
in
last year.
Orlando
Shador
one
Sanders
year-
made the Pro Bowl. Joe Flacco and Sanders. They had 2/3 of the Cleveland Browns quarterback competition was in the Pro Bowl.
And at least when they had it in Hawaii, the families of the players could come over and have a good vacation.
Yeah, right. Now they just all skipped it, and it became a joke.
So what are they now? They're going to have a dinner. for the 88 players who make the Pro Bowl. And the good news is there are no more any replacements.
Right.
There's not going to be anything physical.
Yeah, and I saw that there might be more incentive, stuff for in contracts for Pro Bowls because now no one's going to step down from it, and and there's not going to be any replacements, as you said. So it'll mean more to be on the Pro Bowl team, even though there's no game.
Nice little
so
bonus.
right. So they can tie that into contract incentives. No. So. But you'd have to worry about Diana Rossini voting for stuff, like when she votes for Coach of the Year, it's going to be a little biased.
When she votes for every member of the Tennessee Titan roster to make the Pro Bowl, right. All the starters.
Well, the Patriots now.
Patriots. I'm sorry. Yes.
Right.
That's right.
She probably still has a vote too somehow. So. All right, we're almost 4 hours into this, so let's.
Wow.
It's almost 3 a.m. here. My dog wants to go out, and I'm sure you guys want to hit the town and party because it's not even midnight there.
And your son has held down his dinner.
Yeah, luckily, we had. It was like a 4-day stretch where he kept throwing up at night. I don't know what was going on. He only threw up at night. It was so weird. He was fine during the day, and then he would just throw up at night in his bed.
Maybe
one time,
maybe something in the dinner. If there was some constant thing for a few days,
it was nothing out of the ordinary, and everyone else is fine. So we didn't understand it, but that's long gone. Like, it's been a month now, so thankfully that's over. Evan, I was telling Andy, like I was recording a short video. It was like a 12-minute video. I was like 10 minutes in. And like suddenly, like I'm like, whoa, and like because my son's like standing right there next to me. I was like, I thought I was by myself, and my son's like, Daddy, I threw up. I'm like, oh no. And so
you should have kept that recording and posted it. It would have gone viral.
I should have.
Viral like a virus that he had.
I had to re-record it, but I should probably. Yeah, that'd be funny if I don't want my son to be on camera. Not he's too young, So. My wife is super strict about that. She's like, no Facebook pictures, nothing. Like, she doesn't have any. We have no pictures of our kids anywhere on social media. We have no evidence that they exist.
That video might have gotten him a sponsorship with some sort of relaxant or something.
Right. Yeah. Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah. Pepto-Bismol kid.
Yeah. All right, guys. Great show, Evan. Thanks for coming on. Andy,
My
coming on again.
Does your father talk football till it makes you sick in the stomach? Here's our solution.
Right. That'd be fun. That'd be great. That'd be great.
Andy, we should do more shows out from the win.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'd be fun. Yeah.
Well, I'll remember that next time.
Yeah. All right, guys. Any final thoughts on the way out?
Walt, I can't wait to start our Thursdays next week. Looking forward to it. We'll come up with some sort of plan to talk maybe some preseason because I know you've done win totals and power rankings and drafts for fantasy
stuff,
ad nauseum. So maybe we'll go through some of my power rankings and see where we disagree.
Do you?
Nah, I do like a family fantasy. I don't really get involved.
Evan, you don't do fantasy, right?
I do a family fantasy for fun, just so the kids can get involved. Otherwise, no.
Okay, I've done 133 drafts, so
that's 133 more than
me.
And I can tell you all my exposures. I told Andy already. Blake Corum is my highest owned player to 55% of my teams.
I hope you win money.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
I finished 11th in playoff best ball last year. If in the final, I remember this draft. If I took Matt Collins over Rashid Shaheed in the final round, I would have won $100,000. But I didn't.
That better be in a bad beat book.
It was not. I forgot about it. It'll be in part 2.
Oh.
All right, guys. Thanks.
This year, we're gonna be on the right side of those bets.
I know. Variance has to shift, right? Like I can't be cursed.
See, the
right?
problem is with all that, and it comes with Survivor. When it comes, especially with handicapping games, is that good handicappers lose more games they should win than they'll win games they should lose because they're handicapping it the right way. And it's Walter's book that comes into play that affects the good handicappers, good bettors, that more than the other way around. Because remember, for every bad beat, there's some very lucky win.
It's true.
There's someone who is on the opposite side of every game that I bet
Yeah.
in the book, and they're buying the books like, oh, I had this side. You're an idiot for having those sides. Oh man, it was brutal, but we got there. It was the Eagles Rams game where I'm first like, maybe I should write a book about this,
I
and then
remember.
it was the Cardinals Titans where I'm like, I'm definitely writing a book about this. 2 weeks
Yeah.
later.
Well, Walt, I look forward to seeing you next Thursday. Andy,
Yeah,
great to see you today.
Yeah.
Thank you
Always a
for
pleasure seeing
all
you
that you
out here in
do.
Vegas.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
yeah, I'll look forward to maybe next year the two of you can coordinate
Well,
your
when we come to pick up our giant check, we
in
have to come
January.
together.
Yes, yes.
Yes,
And
that'll
like
be.
I say,
We'll definitely be
if
out.
if your entry and my entry finish 1-2, I'll be thrilled with the second place prize.
Of course, yeah.
You know,
Same, yeah.
it'd be nice for you guys to win. I mean, yeah, would I like to win first? Yeah, but I mean, I'd like to see good people, good friends, or whatever, have success also. That's
Yeah, 1-2 finish would be awesome.
Great, yeah.
I'm rooting for it. All right, guys. We will be back. No show tomorrow because we have preseason games, and no
that's
show
right.
Friday because we have preseason games. So we'll be back on Monday. We'll be doing fantasy drafts next week. And please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit walterfootball.com for tons of content. And thank you, Harambe Slayer, for the $1 super chat. Really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will talk to you on Monday.